Hey, yo, what's good? Welcome to Reflections of a DJ, a.k.a. the R.O.A.D podcast. This is DJ Crooked. I got Jamie the Great.
Yeah.
DJ Never.
Yo.
DJ D Miles.
Good morning.
And we got a special guest, Scottsdale's finest. Scottsdale, dirty ass Scottsdale's finest. But you live in LA right now, right?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if you LA's finest yet. You haven't earned your LA stripes
Nah.
yet.
I'm not even trying to hold that title.
Okay. Well, we got DJ Fashen in the building.
Hey, word up.
What's good, man?
Chilling, bro.
So tell us about your stupid story about taking going to the wrong airport.
To come here. Well, first, thanks for having me. I've been wanting to get on this.
Yeah,
podcast
I don't want to hear
for a
all
minute.
that shit.
All right. Well, anyway. All right. No, but I got on the wrong. I almost got on the wrong flight to get here today. I drove.
You went to the wrong airport.
Yeah, well, because I used to fly out of Burbank all the time to go everywhere, and then over the last year, it's been all LAX, and even last night I checked in. I'm like, remember to go to Burbank, and then I got in the car, went to LAX, parked the car, got in line, stood in the security line for 25 minutes, got to TSA. She's like, honey, you're at the wrong airport.
Damn.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I called you, and you were like, fuck. I could hear it in your voice.
Actually, we were like, yeah, man, we fucking fashion.
And I was like, nah, but I'm still coming, and you were like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Like, damn, we got to deal with this motherfucker now, man.
We didn't get rid of him.
So anyway, so I drove to Burbank, and they put me on another flight, and I'm here.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
And you're just here for the next 12 hours.
About that, 6 a.m., right back to L.A.
You're just going to do this podcast, obviously, and then you're just going to hang at Jewel and get drunk and then fly back to L.A.
That's pretty much
Sounds like a good
the
plan.
story.
You're living your best life.
I'm living my best drunk life.
Damn.
So, I want to get... I've known you for a while, right?
Yeah. At least 10 years.
At least 10 years.
At least.
Yeah. So, I've known you from Zack Getman.
Yep.
Zack Getman was my first manager. Your first manager?
He was my first manager, yes.
Right. And he signed you first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he signed you and all that stuff, but I met you probably in around 2007.
Mm-hmm.
So 11 years ago.
Yep.
And I think we met through Stingery in San Diego.
Yep.
Which was maybe the biggest nightclub in San Diego at the time.
Yeah.
Right? It was in Gaslamp. I think it's Omnia now.
Yeah, it is.
It was a great club, great staff, great owners, awesome.
It was one of my favorites in the whole country.
Of all time.
That club
Yeah.
used to pop off. Yeah, that was a good.
I gotta say maybe like at least the top 10
Easy.
nightclubs. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe top 5.
Easy.
But we gotta break it down. But from there, I met you, and it was by way of Sean Perry.
Yes.
Yes. So I want to talk about a little bit before us meeting.
Okay.
And kind of go to Scottsdale, because I remember I had a gig in Scottsdale,
Mm-hmm.
and people would, I don't know, for some reason, Scottsdale was one of the first cities to actually book New York DJs,
Yeah.
maybe even more than Vegas,
Oh, yeah?
around 2005, 6, around there, right?
I think the club, too, was called Six Lounge at the time. That's where you played.
Maybe.
Because that's where Sean Perry was booked.
I just remember even Rockticon going there, and
Yeah.
everyone knew Fashen because you were the dude who would open and close, or you would,
Yeah.
and then they would be like, "Yo, this dude's nasty." You know, you getting this reputation, and everyone was just talking about you, and I didn't know anything. And then, like, I remember when we first hung out, you took me to like a soul food spot, I think,
I think it was Honey Bear's Barbecue.
Honey Bear's Barbecue.
Yep.
And I mean, everyone kept coming up to you. Everyone knew you. Everyone was like, "Yo, Fashen, what up, man? Like, when you gonna go back?" I think they were like, "You gonna be back on the radio? You gonna be at that party again?" And you were kind of like the dude at that time.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of like, you know, like a lot of brothers and a lot of sisters, like a lot of black people coming up to him, being like, "Yo, Fashen, what up, what up?" And I was just like, "Damn." And if you guys don't know, like Fashen's, you're whiter than white, right?
Bro. Like, pasty.
It gets no whiter.
Pasty.
It gets no whiter.
Man,
And he doesn't age. Like, he looks like you look like you're 16, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you. I feel like I'm 16.
You do?
46. I'm putting that out there. I'm 46.
You're 46.
I'll be 47 October 5th.
Damn.
You got like the Vinny, what was that called?
Oh,
No.
from I know you're talking about from Doogie Howser, right?
Yeah, you got the Vinny,
Oh,
Vinny
God.
jeans, yo. Remember?
Yeah.
Vinny was like 48 and
Yeah.
he
He's
was
playing like a 16-year-old.
Oh my
But you
god.
said
doing that shit.
You
man.
say you like never done any like drugs.
Yeah,
like,
nah,
none of that?
I don't. I drink. I definitely drink. I drink a lot of vodka and I drink water, and that's it. I've never smoked.
And you're one of the most annoying drunks I know.
Thank you. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like really annoying. He just does something annoying, like he'll just kick you, like, "Hey, what's up?" and he'll kick you and then run away. And
I won't
shit.
do that. That's that.
He'll like what do you call it? Like twist your nipple. And you're like, what the
That I
fuck?
might do.
And then he'll be like, ha ha ha, and he'll just run away. And you're like,
That I
what the
might
fuck?
do. That I might do.
That's
but
what
nah,
you do.
But no, for real though, I don't. I don't touch drugs. I don't smoke. I've never smoked weed in my life. Never smoked a cigarette in my life.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just drink water, and then when I'm at the club, I drink vodka,
Damn.
and that's it.
Recipe.
That's I mean,
Recipe for youth.
I still think you and you got that Vinny from Doogie House gene.
I remember the guy.
So I wanted to talk about. So I mean, when I was there at the soul food spot, and I was like, "Damn, man, everyone knows you and shit." And then you would kind of break it down, like, and I'm from New York. Me and Never from New York, and you was a heavy hitter.
Yeah.
So and you obviously big on the radio. That's how a lot of people knew you.
Yeah, I did 11 years on radio in Phoenix.
And I kind of want to go back. I want to go to the beginning. I want to see when Fashen was actually 16,
Okay.
not only looking 16, but I
Yeah.
want to see like how this whole shit started. Because honestly, like, you love DJing.
Yes, I absolutely love it.
You love it.
Yeah.
Like if you couldn't do it, like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I would be hurt.
Yeah.
I love it. Like a lot of, what's funny is the older we get and like just kind of, I mean, like the circle that we're in, like we all kind of know each other. I mean, we all know about like 40 guys, like that everyone just kind of knows each other. And then there's like the outer perimeter of DJs
Right.
that, in some of the markets that you travel to and they'll either open for you or they come out and see some of your stuff. But there's a group of guys that's like, I'm sitting here with all you guys now. I'm with like some of my other friends later, just different things. And we all kind of know each other. And there's guys that are just like, man, I fucking hate DJing now. Like, I don't even want to do it. Like,
Yeah.
this is whack. I just want to do other things. And they're just like, it's just not fun for me anymore. And I don't know. I have fun every time. It's funny because Five makes fun of me. He's like, how was your gig? And I'm like, yo, this shit was fun. He's like, man, you have fun at every gig. It's like, yeah, that's the point. Like, how is it not fun? You play fucking records for people. Like, that's it. Like, how is it not fun?
I think a lot of the times when I hang with some of like the older DJs
Yeah.
and the dudes that I came up with,
Yeah.
I think their frustration with is the music. They're
Yeah.
like, it's not the same, or the music, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And honestly, like,
I mean, I get that, but it's the job.
it is the job, and it's not. I mean, as bad as it is, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's still kind of palatable. Where it's to the point where I'm still kind of having fun in
Yeah.
the crowd. You could still get
Yeah.
a reaction out of the crowd, but
Yeah.
it's, But yeah, I mean, you're that dude that like literally, you want to get on and DJ,
Yeah.
and then like if I left while you were like during your set, you'd be like, dude, I can't believe you left during my set. Like, remember Kanye was talking about Obama? Remember he did that benefit for Obama, and Kanye performed at the benefit for Obama.
Yeah.
And Kanye was like, yo, Obama left by the time I got on the stage.
That's how Fashen feels.
That's how Fashen is.
Man.
But Fashen, like, just like you just went to the wrong airport,
Yeah.
you're very creative. You're like, to me, you're like, you exude creativeness. Like, you're all about
Thank
creative,
you. I
right?
like that. Thank you.
Right?
Yeah, no.
I mean, I remember you had that video called Renaissance Man.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your appreciation for art,
Mhm.
for the visual arts,
Mhm.
right? As well as music,
Mhm.
as well as a whole bunch of things. I mean, one of the few DJs that I know that, like, you can do Photoshop,
Mhm.
and then, like, you don't have a concept of money when it comes to something that you think is worth it creatively.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
remember, like, you commissioning the artist who did the Fool's Gold logo,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's
8-Tracks.
LaRock.
Yeah. I remember you paid him, I don't know how much fucking money, just to do your logos.
Yeah.
And then you would, like, Photoshop them, and you would, like animate them. You would create flash,
Mhm.
flash images and all of this shit.
Mhm.
And I was just very impressed because you were very much like a Renaissance man.
Yeah.
Except you can't dance or any shit like that.
I mean, I can dance. I don't know how good it is.
He's a
but-
solid two-step, bro.
But
I used to be good.
yeah, I mean, I want to go back
All
because I know you came from hip hop.
Yeah.
If you were a heavy hitter, you came from
Yeah.
hip hop.
yeah.
I want to know how the fuck these New York motherfuckers found out about you, and then how this happened. You know
All
what I
right.
mean?
Okay.
Because you're from Scottsdale,
Yes.
and none of us should know about that.
Well, actually, I'm originally from Erie, Pennsylvania.
Even worse.
Yes. Yes. If you've seen that latest Netflix documentary called Evil Genius, that took place in Erie, Pennsylvania. And
About that bank heist, right?
Exactly. Where
Okay.
the pizza guy that got his head blown off. Anyhow,
Oh yeah.
moving forward. My dad, he moved us to Arizona when I was like 8 years old. And so I pretty much grew up there. So that's why I claim
In
Scottsdale.
So
Yeah.
how did you get into hip hop?
Just always liked it. My first record was the very first Run DMC album. On the same day I got that, I got Judas Priest.
So being in Scottsdale, was there a disconnection? There was a disconnect with the hip hop, right?
Well,
Like you wanted more, but you couldn't have.
but see,
more,
when I
right?
got into it, there was nothing. Like it was literally Run DMC, and then like a couple months later, it was Paid in Full, Eric B and Rakim, and I was like, wow, this is like something that I'm embracing. And then that was kind of right around the time that MTV got on the air,
Right.
and then you started to see the videos, and then I saw Run DMC Rockbox, and I was like, holy shit, this is like amazing. Like, and then that's what really like sparked my hip hop interest. And then fast forward a couple years, like I really got into like the dancing aspect of it and breakdancing and b-boying, all that.
Oh shit!
I mean, dude, I like saw Beat Street and breaking in the theater. Like we would take cardboard and dance outside the theater, and then get like shuffled off by the police
What was your b-boy
in
name?
Scottsdale.
What was your b-boy name?
I didn't have a b-boy name, but later on, I was in a dance crew when we did more like freestyle dancing, and our crew was called Two, like the number 2, N, the letter N, Two in Position.
Hey yo,
Two in Position. I know. Looking back, it's kind of like sus.
2 in position.
Two in Position.
Hey, yo,
Yeah, it was me and my buddy Aaron.
that was destined to fail.
Yeah, we were good. No, we were good. But like Scoop and Scrap Lover, like the Big Daddy Kane's
Yeah, yeah.
dancers, like we emulated them. And then there was also this video that was on PBS, like late '80s, early '90s. It was called Wreck and Shop. You can watch it on YouTube, and it came out of Brooklyn, and it was a dance crew called the Mop Tops. And they were also the same guys. We emulated them, and they were like dipped head to toe in polo gear. And so we were dipped head to toe in polo gear, and that's where I came up with the name Fashen. And so Fashen stemmed from my dance crew. And then when I started DJing, people were like, yo, what are you going to call yourself? And I was like, I mean, just call
Keep it
myself
Fashion?
Fashen for right now, yeah. And then they would just now I dress like shit. I don't care. I'm like, whatever, but the name stays.
So
Yeah.
you've been fashion since like the 90s.
Since technically about
late
89.
80s.
89,
Damn,
yeah.
man.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, 89.
Wow.
Shit.
You're like, damn, that motherfucker's old.
No, I'm just saying because I mean,
29 years.
I wasn't never until like maybe 90, 97,
Yeah.
98.
So wait, but how did you get into DJing?
So my dance crew,
Yeah.
we would go. We went to this club that was in Scottsdale. It was called A Step Above. It was just in like a plaza, just like a regular strip mall plaza. And across the way was Video Roundup. Well, I used to go to Video Roundup and play video games before I got into like all that stuff. Z-Trip was playing that club, and at that time he was the guy in Phoenix, and I didn't know who he was. I was just like, yo, I'm just trying to go to this club where I'm old enough to get in, because it was like 18 and up. I wasn't 21 yet.
Right.
And so we would go in there, and we were regulars there all the time, and Z-Trip would be playing. And then one night, it was kind of a slow night. He was like, yeah, he goes, I see you guys are always here, and I just want to let you know, the club's closing, but I wanted to let you know that I'm going to be at this new spot, and I want you guys to, like, come and do your thing. And we were like, cool. And then I was like, well, since it's, like, done, like it's closing, will you let me try your turntables? And he's like, yeah. So, he let me get on, and I literally just scratched the wrong record. I scratched the record that was playing, and I was like, but just doing that, I was like, wow, like I'm really intrigued. Like he made it look so easy, and obviously it's not, and I want to know how to do it right. And he was like, yeah, like come through the crib sometime, whatever. And like literally like 2 days later, I was at the crib for like 12 hours, and we were just chopping it up about music and all these other things, and that was it. That was the bug right there. And then
So just
So
Z-Trip.
Z-Trip put you on.
Z-Trip put me on.
Wow. Not a lot of people can say that.
No.
I didn't even know he was from Arizona.
Yeah, he was originally from New York, and his family moved out to Arizona also when he was in like I want to say middle school, but maybe high school.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah,
Wow.
and then so he basically he owns coming from Arizona.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Yep.
So, I mean, how many lessons did you get from D-Trip?
Honestly, there weren't really lessons. I mean, like I would watch him do things, and I would ask him, "Hey, will you show me how to do this?" And he'd be like, "Nah." I'm like, I don't get it. Like, what do you mean, nah? Like, you said come over and, like, you know, whatever. He's like, nah. He's like, I'm saying come over and, like, you can, like, kind of, like, vibe and learn. He goes, but, like, I won't teach anyone how to do it because, he goes, then I'm basically teaching you my style. He goes, you got to learn on your own so you develop your own style, which I respected that. And I got that. And I was like, okay. And he goes, what you need to do is get your own tables and just go at it, you know, and just figure it out. And I was like, nah, that actually makes sense. And I did that. I bust tables at the time, and I saved that tip money, and I actually bought his used 1200s.
Wow.
And then I bought a Gemini mixer.
Of course.
With the little transformer on it.
Mm-hmm.
The little bomb drop.
Yep.
Right.
And yeah. And then I would buy records and just keep practicing. I would make these mixtapes.
Now, how old were you at this time?
Like 20, like 21, 22 at least. Like, well, I was born in 71, so maybe about like 20. Yeah, like 20, 21.
So you, like, in high school, you were a B-boy?
No, actually in high school I skateboarded. And I went to vocational school for art.
And then, okay. So you went to college or no?
I went to community college for art.
Okay.
My art grades were like excelled over everything, but I barely
Passed.
I barely passed high school because I let everything else like fall the wayside.
Right.
And so I couldn't get a scholarship doing art, and I couldn't afford to go to art school because my parents didn't have money.
Right.
And so I took all the community college courses for art, and I did everything they would allow me to do. And then finally they were like, "Look, dude, you got to like start taking math and shit, or you got to go." And I was like, "I'm out." And that was it. And then I was like, okay, what do I do now? And then I was like, all right, well, let me bust these tables. And I worked in a couple sneaker stores and
That's
stuff.
funny. Like, we were just talking. Sorry to cut you off. We were talking. We had Mega Man, you know, Mike Mayetta.
I do.
And he was talking about how logistically the part of his brain is very high in the creative level, but like in the logistic, like reasoning level, it's low. And I feel that kind of with you. Hence the wrong airport today. And then you paid, and this is the craziest story. You telling us that you paid $8 for the Wi-Fi on the plane,
Yeah,
so you could finish an Instagram story.
I did that.
Yeah,
That he couldn't like.
That's artistic as hell.
I did
yeah,
that.
but that's what
it had to be done right.
exactly. But that's what I mean. Is like
Yeah.
you buy art, and like I feel like sometimes you'll buy it and you won't even think like this is too much. You're just like, I got to get it.
Trust me.
What's the highest you ever paid for an art piece?
I can't say.
Is it over six figures?
We're gonna talk about
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. No. I mean, I try to stay within a certain budget. I've slowed down like a whole lot.
But it's also kind of like it's like it's more saturated now, isn't it? A little bit.
It's just different. Like when I kind of got, because I started out like collecting street art and stuff. And then, like, KAWS and stuff. Like, I collected KAWS figures in, like, 99, 2000.
Oh, shit.
When he first, like, kind of hit it and was, like, you know, he had all this stuff in, like, Kid Robot and all those kind of things. And so, like, kids were kind of collecting sneakers and, like, the toys. And so I was, like, but I was mainly on the KAWS stuff. So, like, I had all the KAWS figures and stuff. And it wasn't really about his art and stuff. And then when I moved to L.A., I started going to more galleries and stuff, and I started to veer more out of the street art and more into the contemporary world. And that was actually more the world that I knew from school. Like when I went and did school in high school and college, and I learned about like, you know, like artists like Warhol and Lichtenstein and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, this is actually more what I'm really into anyway.
Right.
And so I just kind of like, I steered out of that. I curved street art and then kind of jumped back in the contemporary world. And so, yeah, that's kind of
just got older.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly it. Because it's like more of an adult.
I mean, street art is right now. It seems more like a hustle, right? With certain artists, I feel like they're kind of like, oh, that's the formula, and they just kind of hustle
Yeah.
their way and they
Well, you know what it is?
socialize their way up. You know,
I feel like a lot of street artists just copy other street artists.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, Banksy did the rat with the spray can or whatever. And then like 20 other street artists do stuff with rats. And you're just like, come on,
Right.
like be original.
It could only be one rat.
There's only one rat.
All right, so back to you and Z-Trip making out in his
It was never
That's
like
great.
that. It was never like that. It was never. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you though. So
You never sat on his lap. You
Nah,
never
but-
sat on his lap and he taught you how to scratch or
No,
crab
bro.
or something.
Nah. But I did probably like 3 years after we met.
Oh shit, you getting deep now? Yo, we're gonna hear some shit.
No. But I
As he said, yo, I did. You did
He said,
what?
But
He said, but 3 years later.
I did, but 3 years later, what?
I'm this guy. Him and then he used to work at this spot called Bobby McGee's, and if he didn't want anybody to know that, I'm sorry, bro, but I'm putting it out there.
What is that?
So Bobby McGee's was kind of like a TGI Fridays in the
You
1990s.
used to DJ there?
Yeah, that was like his bread and butter. That was his 9 to 5 job, and then and he had to go.
Oh,
in
he
there.
DJ'd there, or he was like a
No,
manager?
he DJ'd there.
Oh, okay.
He DJ'd there. But like he had to go in, he had to wear a tie and stuff, and he would play. He'd get on the mic and be like, "Hey, hey, here's the conga by whatever Gloria Estefan."
Right.
And he would do all those like things, like Vanilla Ice. All those records were big at that time. But it was kind of like a, hey, it's happy hour. Let's all go to Bobby McGee's, and this guy's playing this music, and then like whatever. And then as soon as he was done doing that, then he would do like the hip hop parties and stuff. But that was like his. I mean, it was like a check. That was like his 9 to 5.
Right.
So that was guaranteed loot for him.
I'm sure we all had to do crazy gigs like that in the beginning.
I cleaned.
Yeah.
I bust tables.
Yeah.
I bust.
What was your worst and first DJ gig in Scottsdale?
What was my worst DJ?
What was your first? It's got to be one of your worst, your first ones.
No. Well, see, that's the thing. So Z-Trip was like, I never really was looking to do gigs. I was just making tapes for myself to listen to in my car. That's all I wanted to do, and I just wanted to scratch. Like what really interested me the most was watching Kid Capri at the end of the Def Comedy Jam when he would flip like
Right.
Public Enemy, hold it now, and the dudes would dance on the stage. And I was mainly in it for the dudes dancing on the stage because that was the type of dance style that me and my friends were into. So we would watch that 30 seconds of those guys dancing every time Def Comedy Jam was on, so we could learn those moves because no one in Scottsdale knows those kind of moves, But then, as I'm watching that, they pan the camera over to Kid Capri doing his thing. I was like, damn, like I'm really like, I still want to learn more of that. So that's kind of like when I saw Z-Trip, that's when I was like, yeah, okay, I want to learn that. I want to do like what Kid Capri did, whatever. I like how he rocked the party. He was on the mic. He was good. And that was just on Def Comedy Jam.
Right.
And Zack, he would be like, look, dude, I'm going to let you open up for me, or I'm going to let you play 20 minutes tonight when we get to the club. And see, back then, there were no openers. He did the whole night.
Right.
He'd be on from like 9:30 until 2. Or I think at the time, the clubs only stayed open till 1 in Arizona. But anyway, we would get there, and he'd be like, we played at this club called 411. It was right by Arizona State University.
Mm-hmm.
And it had 3 flights of stairs. And he's like, if you want to get on for 20 minutes, he goes, carry my crates up them stairs.
How many you
Nice.
got?
And I did. I carried all his crates up
You
the stairs.
better, motherfucker.
Yeah, and then you had to go like another 500 feet to the DJ booth. But it was like, yeah, okay, I'll
How
do
many
it.
crates? How many crates did they have?
It's like 3 or 4.
That's it?
I thought like
I thought they
8
would say
or
more.
10.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yo, what's the most crates you ever seen?
Oh man, it was
Flex?
Scribble
Scribble.
at the old light.
Damn.
He came with like it was over 20 crates.
No
Holy
way.
shit.
I swear to God.
How long was it
What?
said?
I swear to God, yeah.
Did he have like a dolly with him? Or?
Yeah. No, they had the hotel dolly.
Oh, see, we didn't do any of that. We legit
bell
just
hop?
Yeah.
I was taking him out of the bed of his truck and carrying him up the stairs. No dolly, no elevator, no nothing.
20
man.
crates?
20
That's
crates.
pretty
I swear to
insane.
God.
How long was
crazy.
it set, Never? You remember?
2 hours?
I thought he was gonna say like maybe 8 or 9.
I think he was like traveling.
I wouldn't even
and
know
he
where to
happened
look
have-
for records in 20 crates.
He had like the crates all in the back of the walls.
Yeah.
He had them all in the DJ booth. It was just crazy. I was like, damn, man.
That sounds insane.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you carried only 4, right?
Like 4, maybe 5.
Nice.
And then, and I would play a handful of my own records. I would take my own
When
records.
you were carrying on, were you like, motherfucker? Or
No,
were you
not
like,
at all. I
fuck,
was-
I get to DJ tonight?
Yeah, no, I was excited. I was like, yeah, let's do this.
Nice.
And so he would let me play, but it was like, I was all nervous. I'm like, oh man, I'm not in the bedroom anymore. I'm like out and doing this thing, and so
You're like, damn, I'm not sitting on Z Trip's lap anymore. I don't have
guy.
to.
So,
Arm's length.
was it like a large capacity in the club?
Yeah, no, it was a big club, and because it was right by the university, it was pretty big. And they had big nights. I mean, they packed it out. I mean, like, especially in the summertime. I mean, the windows that it was like encased with windows, and it was on like the third level. But I mean, the windows would sweat. I mean, it was like straight like condensation like in the whole place. It was crazy, but it was fun. And back then I was drinking too. Back then though, I drank Long Island iced teas, and I just get fucked up.
Rookie. That's some rookie shit.
That's the
I
young,
mean, bro, that's some
we all started-
1990 shit.
I was about to say we all started in long. Well, I did also.
Yeah, me too. I think
Long
that's just
Island
a
It
young
was
person's
those.
drink.
It was those. It was
good.
White Russians and Jamaican bicycle seat.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, Jamaican bicycle
The fuck
seat.
is a Jamaican
I don't know.
bicycle
Google
seat?
it. I don't know. Yeah, Jamaican bicycle
It's
seat.
funny because one of the first times I hung out with Darren out in Vegas, we went to the spot and he got me a Long Island iced tea, and that shit fucked
Dude,
me
yeah.
up. Yo,
I was like,
but it was
just
so good.
2 of those and you're fucked up. You
I,
need
it was
nothing more to
warm.
drink.
I was warm, but I drink it like so smooth because it was so good tasting. Man, that shit was fucked. That shit fucked
Creeper.
me
It's a
up.
creeper.
That is.
Yeah, I had to stop. with those. Too much shit.
Jamaican 10-speed drink?
That's what it is. 10-speed bicycle seat. 10-speed. What's the difference?
Bicycle
Bicycle
seats.
Oh, man.
Different parts of the bike, but he got it.
Yeah.
Malibu rum, melon liqueur, yeah, milk, pineapple. Ugh,
Milk.
yeah.
Milk with pineapple?
I mean, that's what white Russians are, right?
It's milk, yeah.
Yeah.
Milk and liquor.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Anyway.
sounds horrible.
So
But
yeah. So anyway, so I would drink those. I would do my 20-minute set. He didn't break me off any money, no nothing, whatever.
right.
But and then eventually he would do some of the black fraternity parties, the Alpha Phi Alphas, the Gammas, all those parties, and then he would have other things that he would have to do, and then he'd be like, well, why don't you book Fashen for your party? And so they started booking me for some of those parties. So I really started my main start, like for my own self with no one else, was doing the black fraternities at Arizona State University.
That's dope.
Wow.
And the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, they pretty much had me exclusively for every party for like 3-4 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What songs was big at the time when you started?
I mean, Notorious Big, Craig Mack, like all those, like
94.
Yeah.
93, 94. Okay.
Tribe Called Quest, all those, 900 Number, Frankie Cutlass, Puerto Rico, all those records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Loved it.
Did were y'all doing reggae sets out there too, or not?
Yeah,
really?
yeah. I mean, I didn't have a lot at the time. I had more like a little bit later on.
Uh-huh.
But yeah.
So wait, so you're doing this, and then you got on the radio, right?
Yeah, I did. So I got asked to do a club. Well, eventually I started to do some club stuff too as well.
All right, so wait. So you started doing the black fraternities,
Yeah.
right? So that was your one gig. How often would that come? Like once a month?
Maybe once a month, a couple of months.
Uh-huh.
And then I would do like a couple like other hip hop parties around town for like $150 a night. There was a party downtown Phoenix. I can't remember what the name of it was now, but they had a really cool Saturday night. And there was times that I would literally go bust tables, and I would take my gear with me, and I would leave the restaurant smelling like food, but I would change in the bathroom, and I would go right to the DJ gig, and I would play the last like hour, of the DJ gig. And I was like, I'm cool, let's do it. And it was always packed, and it was just such a rush. The worst part was carrying your crate in through the crowd.
You
get
carried
on.
4 as well?
No. For that gig, I usually just took like 2.
Just
Yeah.
1 hour, right?
Yeah, it was just 1 hour.
So then you just started building. Your name started going around town.
Yeah, I started a couple different like the
Did you
hip
have
hop.
to do mixtapes? Did that
Yeah,
help?
I always did mixtapes. Like I just did. I don't think the mixtapes really helped for the club thing. Like people would rock the mixtapes, and I used to get real creative. Like I would make my own covers. I'll have to show you guys like some covers. But
Well, we got one here.
hey, oh man, that's way late though. That's way
Well, I
late.
got this one a while ago, and then I never opened it.
All right, I'm gonna find some and I'm gonna send them to you.
This is Dexstar. This is Dexstar Volume 1 DJ Fashen.
There you go. Damn, do you have a copy of that? I don't have
You
that.
can keep that one if you want.
Ah, there he is.
It's not even open.
No, it's not open.
You don't
So
wanna-
did you listen to it?
Nah,
Nah.
you didn't want to hear this shit.
I got a bunch from
I don't know if I
Dexter.
want to hear it. I don't know if I want to hear it.
But yeah, I had that one. I was like, oh shit, when we got Fashen.
That's
Check
fucked up.
that out.
Why you
Yeah.
didn't listen to it though?
Oh,
That's fucked up, Jamie.
I don't have no
Here,
CD
I'm gonna let
player.
you listen to it first because I'm not traveling with anything. So I'll get it the
Bye.
next time. I'll get it the next time.
So, Yes, you were doing mixtapes. You're getting in the circuit.
Yeah, and then some of the promoters were starting to book me more for some of the hip hop parties. And then I did this one party on a Saturday night. It was at this club called Zazu, and it was on like 16th Street and Camelback in Phoenix. And they had a radio broadcast, and the guy that was there, his name was Mikey on the mic. And
Mikey on the mic.
Mikey on the mic.
Another West Coast
Mikey
name
on the
for you.
mic. Well, he was actually, I think, from Fresno. Either Fresno or Bakersfield, where they came from, and then he was doing nights on Power 92 in Phoenix, and then
Mikey on the mic.
he
Jesus Christ.
it's the 90s, bro. It's the 90s, and
Doesn't matter. but
How did
go
he
ahead.
sound?
he was good. He was actually really good. He was good.
Hey, welcome to This is Mikey on the mic.
No.
Like that.
He was legit. His
Hey, what's up, Bakersfield? It's
His-
Mikey on the mic
bro.
over
I'm telling
here.
you. I'm telling you.
Mikey
His-
on the mic.
His partner was this guy Casey. He went by Big Willie, and the two of them were together. They were good. They were really good together.
That's probably
Anyhow.
the best name I've heard in a minute.
Big Willie.
Big Willie or Mikey
no,
Mike?
Mike, Mikey on the mic.
Mikey on the mic.
Mike.
Anyhow, so I did this. I did the club. Moving forward, I did the club, and after the club, he was like, "Yo, man," he goes, "The shit was nice," and I was like, "Thanks." And he's like, "Would you want to do a mix on the radio?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm down." I'm like, "What do I do?" And he's like, "Here, I'm gonna give you this DAT player. Go home and record a mix, bring it to the station, and then we'll run it on Monday at 5 p.m. and you'll be on the drive time." I was like, "All right, cool." So I went home over the weekend. I probably
Just like that?
probably started the mix over like 20 times because it was
One take.
one and done. And it was violent. There were no Serato, no cue points, no nothing. Like if you had pops in your records, if you brushed your needle on the record, like it scratched. It was like it was a mess. So, but I wanted to make sure that first mix was good. So I did it. I
How
ran
long
it.
was it?
45 minutes.
Okay.
It was 2 segments, and then I drove it to them on Monday. And it took me like an hour and a half to get to the station in rush hour traffic. I dropped off my dad. They were like, "All right, cool." They didn't even let me in the building. He basically opened the door, took the tape, and was like, "All right, I'll see you."
And you didn't
Oh,
get paid.
No, it was free. It was all free. So I get back in the car. I'm stuck on the freeway going back home, and I hear him running the mix, and I was just bugging out. I had goosebumps. I was like, "Holy
crazy.
shit!" Like
Damn,
I
man.
made this, and then I didn't think. I thought he would just be like, "Yeah, we got this guy Fashen on the radio. Check it out." And he, the first break came. I was like, "Man," he's like, "Fashen, he's doing his thing. He's killing it." And then he's like, "Caller, who is this?" And they're like, "Hey, this is so and so from the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. That's my boy. He DJs our parties, blah
shit.
blah." And then I was like, "Oh shit!" Like people that know me are like calling up and like, "Yo, that's my guy." And I was
It's like
like,
a scene in the movie.
Yeah.
It was
Stuck on the freeway.
dude. I'm telling you, the shit was like
Everyone on the
surreal.
freeway just starts dancing.
Yeah.
and shit.
Jump on top of the car.
Fucking Ryan Gosling gets out, starts
It's like
doing
La La-
the spin.
yeah, it's like La La Land.
Damn.
But it was cool, and I was
That
like,
sounds
"Wow."
amazing. What year was that?
That was 96.
Did you look over and like, yo, I'm on the radio? That's me? No.
Nah, dude, I was in a Hyundai.
Oh.
Dude, this is the sad thing. What's the equivalent of that now?
I don't know if
Like
there
what,
is
what's
one.
a kid like having like your shit on World Star? Like what is your shit
Kinda,
right now?
Yeah.
That's sad.
I don't
Isn't
know.
it
That is kinda
sad?
sad.
I don't know.
'Cause that
What's
must
the
have been-
equivalent of that now?
I mean, you still have your shit on the radio.
Yeah, but that don't really
No
mean
one
shit.
really listens to the radio.
I mean, I'm not trying to diss radio, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's not as impactful. Like it would have to be something with social media, right?
But
It's
it
gotta
has
be.
to
It's
be.
gotta be like World Star.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Like you can't recreate that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's like kind of like
Yeah.
I guess having like a viral video or something. Like
no.
But that's not even
no.
because you can make a viral video from doing nothing, from
Yeah.
putting whipped cream.
I
in
mean,
your
people
ass.
made it with
That's
Vine
true.
6 seconds. You took
That's
45
true.
minutes.
that's true.
Damn,
That was, like,
sucks.
really-
different. It's
But it was
like-
good. Dude, honestly, it was like one of the best feelings ever. And I got home and the dude called me.
and you felt like a DJ for the like a real.
I did.
DJ
Like I
for the
felt
first
really
time.
accomplished. I was
Yeah.
like, wow. Like they played my mix on the radio. People called in and said they liked it. Like it was all good. And I was like, wow. And I mean, there were no like iPhones back then. Nothing. I think I had a pager at the time, like a legit green screen pager.
The pager was blowing
Something.
up.
I don't even remember back then what it was, but he called me. I remember he called me and he's like, "Yo, how would you like to do that 5 days a week?"
Oh shit!
And I was like, "I'm in." And he goes, "All right, cool." And he goes, "Keep that DAT player." He goes, "We'll buy you some DATs, and you're just gonna have to bring them to the station every day, unless you want to record them all in advance and then drop them off." He goes, "But there's no money involved." And I was like, "You know what?" I was like, "I'm cool. It's all good. Whatever. I'll do it. Like whatever." So I did that for a year.
That's a lot of work.
I did that for a
Yeah,
year, but
Hold on, I want to do the math. 45 minutes times 5
times
Yeah.
5.
times 52.
Dude, that's a shit ton. That's like
45
200 something
minutes.
days.
Was it like all new mix? I mean, new music, or was it a mixture of old school?
No, they would give me like a playlist of like
23
All right,
hours.
so bust this. No, 23 hours. It's 23,000 hours.
Wow.
23,700 hours.
Yeah.
I'm going to divide that by 24 hours. 987 days.
yeah.
For
Yeah,
a year.
How can it be 987 days for a year?
No. You
I gotta
it's
divide by
minutes, it's
60.
minutes, it's
Yeah.
minutes, it's
Minutes. That's what it is.
My fault.
Damn.
Alright.
I'm the Asian one, too. I'm embarrassed. 45 minutes times 5
That should be 225.
divided by 60. That's 3 hours and 75 times 52. It's 195 hours.
There you go. That
Wow.
sounds right.
For free.
For free,
Damn, man.
That's 8 days.
straight.
8 days straight.
So,
It's a lot.
but what they told me and what did work with that was they were like, look, the exposure you get on the radio, you'll allow to charge a little more at your DJ gigs. You'll get people who maybe didn't know of you before, and will be like, hey, I heard you on the radio, I want to book you. And it happened like several times I got booked. I even did a wedding from being on the radio, and that was like a whole nother incident. But it was
Why, what
bad. It
happened?
was bad. It was young couple. The girl, I think the girl was 16, and the dude was like 18. I mean, they were young Hispanic couple. And they called up the radio station. They're like, we want Fashen to teach our wedding. We like what he plays on the radio. And I was like, they're like, yo, do you want to do this wedding? And I'm like, man, like, I don't really do weddings. Like, I don't know what even to do. Like, never really done one. And they're like, nah, we just want you to come play the music you play on the radio. And it's like, I think at the time, like, the biggest record was 112, Only You, the remix. And I was like, all right. She's like, yeah, just make sure you have that song. And I'm like, all right. So I show up with, like, whole gear. Z-Trip had, like, a mobile setup. And so I basically rented his mobile setup. He didn't let me use that shit. He was like, nah, you're going to pay. So I rented his mobile setup. I went to these people's house. I set up all the gear, set up my own turntables, brought my records, the whole 9 yards, was good to go. I played 15 minutes of music, and the bride and the groom left. And then I'm sitting there with the family, full Hispanic family. Half of them weren't speaking any English at all. And they're like, yo, where's Spanish music? I'm like, I ain't got no Spanish music. I was like, I don't have nothing.
Hey, play Vicente Fernandez.
And I'm like, and they're like, what do you mean you ain't got no Spanish music? I was like, nah, they told me they want me to play what I play on the radio. So this is what I brought. This is what I have. I was like, I don't have.
Hey, man, what you talking about,
Yeah.
man?
And they were like, they were getting mad. They were getting mad. And then finally,
You didn't even have oldies, bro?
dude, I have not. No, my oldies. Do you remember the old? Remember the thump? Yeah. No.
Rider.
No, but
That would have saved them. That's what I'm saying.
But do you remember the Thump Records had those like compilations?
Yeah.
And it had like all the oldies on. I had those, and I, but
Man,
like
you don't have
Atomic
any,
Dog.
you don't have any
and shit
Kid
like that.
Frost?
Nah, I didn't have Frost. But yeah, so the lady came over. She was like, "Look," she goes, "You might want to pack up your shit and leave." She's like, the uncle, he's starting to get irritated, and he's drunk.
No Tito Puentes?
And I was like, man, and I did, dude. I
What'd you
packed
say,
my
never?
shit.
I go Tito Puentes?
Nah. Yeah, I don't even know who that was at the time.
So you were about to get fucked up.
Pretty much, yeah. I was like really
Why
nervous.
did the bride and the groom leave?
Oh no, I was pissed, and then
Did you get paid?
I got paid.
Well, how much did you get?
It was like $300.
That's it?
That's it.
How much did Z-Trip rent you out his stuff?
I think it was like $80.
Okay.
How fast did you pack up?
So faster than I unpacked.
Wait, were you alone? You did it all by
I
yourself?
did it all by myself. I was alone. Yeah. I was
Lights
alone.
and everything,
man, you-
speakers?
No, I didn't do lights.
You lucky
but
they
I did
ain't-
do speakers. I had speakers. I had a small amp.
Damn, you
that I
lucky
put
they
in.
ain't take your shit, man.
Man.
Let me tell you, Mexicans is crazy.
Fashion's light skin enough. He just pointed a bunch of flashlights at
Dude, it was, yeah, it was also like 4 PM, and it was inside their house. I literally was set up in the living room.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
bro.
Why
That's
did
a-
I
that's
picture it
amazing.
outside?
Yeah, me too.
In the backyard.
In the back of it, the backyard.
Yeah,
like,
in the grass.
There was only like 30 people there. It was only like 30 people.
Damn.
That's why I thought it was weird that they wanted to. They're like, yeah, we want to book this
That's
radio
not a
DJ.
Mexican wedding, yo.
Well, I
Let
mean,
me tell
everyone
you.
there was Mexican or Hispanic.
Let me tell you, that's a family. That's not a fucking wedding.
Well,
that's fucked up,
it
man.
was frightening. It was frightening.
I'm bugging out how the bride and the groom left, though.
Yeah, they
dipped
just
on
bailed.
him, man.
They just totally dipped, and I was like, what the fuck? So that was it. After that, I was like, no more weddings. I'm cool. I've done a couple since, but like people I know or whatever. But like every now and then, I'll have someone go, yo, you do my wedding? I'm like, nah. But I did do a wedding in Chicago like 2 years ago, and that shit was bananas. And they did. Like, the groom was like, yo, play ASAP Ferg. I was like, all right, I got that. And then, like, even, like, the mom came up. She's like, do you have any, like, Cher? And I'm like, no, but I got something close to it. And she's like, all right, just play that. And I don't even remember what I played. But that actually went off. And then afterwards, I ended up going to the club and getting shitty.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do.
Because that's what I do.
All right, so you're on the radio doing it for free, and then at what point were you fed up? Like, yo, I got to get paid for this shit.
I was never fed up. At the time, I was still bussing tables and just cleaning up after people, and I was like, you know what? That's just the job. This is what pays the bills.
When you look at it now, are you like, damn, I was so stupid. I should have handled my business better?
No, not at all. I was humbled by the whole experience.
Nice.
And eventually, a new program director came on board at the radio station, and he said, you've been here for a year for free. He goes, it's time we make you an employee. And he put me on a salary.
Is that how it usually works on the radio?
I don't know.
That sounds like...
Honestly, I don't know. From the time I started doing radio, it was, I worked my way up from being like the street team person to like, and that was pretty much free. And then like I would do like I would take the DJs that had like club remotes, so I would set up their equipment at the club remotes because we do live feeds from the club, so you can listen to the live feed from the club on the air.
Yep.
So I would set up all that equipment. And eventually, once I started mixing, I would just fill in, like if they needed someone. And then eventually, once I became a full-time mixer, I got paid. But
That's
that was
awesome.
like 2 years, 3 years later.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yo, that's that old school, like, music industry shit where they just rape the fuck out of you, right?
Yeah.
But see,
Basically,
once he got involved, like it actually wasn't bad. I can't remember the exact amount I got, but I want to say I got like $50 a mix, so I'll get like $250 a week.
That's not bad.
Which wasn't bad.
That's what Vice used to get too.
That's more than what you get, Jamie, right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, damn. But yeah, but then also when that guy came on board, they put a DJ setup in one of the side studios.
Sorry, Fashen.
Piece of shit.
Y'all are rough.
I'm just
That's
fucking.
tough.
Listen,
Y'all are
I'm
rough.
just fucking with him. This motherfucker make $275 a week. It's all good.
I clear rent. You know,
that 275 goes a long way, man.
shit.
What's a lot less these days
Is it?
than it was back then? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A lot of
radio. Yeah.
Or radio?
Yeah. Like
How much? Like $20?
I know some of them that don't pay like anything. It's like no money at all. Like maybe $20 mix.
Yeah, but if you're like these big like headlining dudes, like who's a big dude on the radio?
Oh, like Pro Style.
Felly, or even Just
Yeah.
Incredible, Sour Milk. Those guys are getting paid.
Yeah, but those guys are also on-air personalities, so they have contracts. But if
Okay.
you're just strictly mixer, because I was strictly mixer, and then every now and then I would poke my head in with the whoever the on-air guy was.
Damn, man.
Yo, let Fashen tell his story,
Chill.
fucker.
I'm saying, yeah, you would poke your head in.
To the on-air. What'd you say? The on-air.
Just a tip.
So you would you'd be the mix guy. And you would poke your head in, and then what,
Yeah.
and then what happened?
Nah, but I would.
Poke it in,
No,
poke it out.
I'm funny sometimes. My God,
Never.
I knew this was coming. I expected this.
It's cool. It's cool.
Pause.
No, it's cool. Hey, now, but finish your story. You poke your head in.
Nah. No, but I would poke my head in and I would kind of vibe on the air with the guy, with whoever.
Okay. So you would vibe with him. Okay. Afterwards.
After you poke it.
He's so wrong.
All right. Yes, so then you would vibe, and then you would
That's
get
it.
on. You would
But I
get on the
didn't-
mic or anything.
I got on the mic a little bit, but I didn't. I wasn't on the mic.
On the
that
mic.
Much. I wasn't on the mic that much.
Yo, this is it. All right, we gotta straighten up. All right. I'm sorry, Fashen. We're not trying to disrespect you.
It's all good, bro. No disrespect taken.
No, for real. So you would go into the recording.
I would join the personalities on air for a minute or two,
Right.
and basically like break down like what records I played or like what. I
So
was
then you
playing
started
on air.
becoming a personality.
A little bit, yeah. And so eventually, they would have me in to do some of the bits that they would do.
Okay.
And like, but yeah, like it's funny because like I was telling you early, like, you know, some of my good friends, they say, you know, like, oh, Fashen, he's like the angry white guy. He's always angry, but I'm not though. I'm never angry, but I can be. But at the time, even back on the radio, like here's one thing I was known about at the station is if I messed up, like I'm my own worst critic. If I mess up, like if the mix ain't perfect or if I did something wrong, man, I would open up that studio door and I would throw that record down the hallway and they would stick into the wall like blades, or they would shatter and like literally like it got to the point where my program director was like, "Bro, you got to quit breaking records in the hallway. It's like the cleaning people are complaining."
Oh shit!
It was like legit. Like I didn't care. I was just like, you promo records, TVT, you get like 30 copies of Lil Jon the East Side Boys in the mail every week.
Right.
And if I get mad, it was like, all right, what's 29 copies left? So one of those will just end up down at the end of the hallway in like pieces.
While doing radio, did you like meet any of your favorite rappers or artists?
Met all of them. The only one, I met Biggie. I'd never got a drop from Biggie, but I met pretty much all my favorite rappers and DJs. And I got drops from most of them. And then the first year I moved to LA, my laptop crashed and I lost all of them.
No way.
Damn.
I had maybe like 3 or 4 saved. They weren't on like that laptop. I had them on a drive somewhere. And and I was.
Which one's the one you're most pissed about that you lost?
All of them.
I had
fuck.
all of them. I had
to
a
be
really good
one.
Jay-Z one. I had a really good Puffy one. I had 2 really good Mobb Deep ones.
Ooh.
They're like my all-time favorite hip hop
Holy
groups.
shit.
So,
That's crazy.
but I had some like random ones. Remember 702,
Yeah.
yeah.
Queen Pin.
Yep.
Yeah.
So random ones.
I had Jennifer Lopez.
That's a good one.
That was a good
cool
one.
one.
Yeah, the
So
Jennifer
you were
Lopez one.
interviewing them or on the radio? Or how did that
No.
work?
They
You
would come
just
in and do the.
mix?
They would come in and do the interviews, but then like after they would do their interviews, they would go into like a small studio, and the engineer would have them just run through like what they call liners, basically promoting the radio station or radio show, and then they would also promote like the mixers. So they'd be like, "Yo, you're live in the mix of Fashen. This is Jennifer Lopez, and you're live in the mix of Fashen." So I would keep all those, and then we had what we had. They had like it was called an instant replay machine. And they had that, and they had what was called a 360
Wow, man.
machine.
I forgot about that, the instant replay.
And everything was loaded in those. And so, like, before I left Arizona to move to L.A., before I left the radio, I made sure that I recorded every one of my drops, and I put them in my laptop. And then literally, like, the first month I moved to L.A., my motherboard or whatever they said crashed, and I lost everything.
Holy shit.
Everything. I lost my family photos. Like, everything I had. It was just gone. So... Womp womp.
You can no way you could have retrieved it.
Nah, I tried everything. It got to the point, like, thankfully, like, I had friends, like, shout out Steve Wonder and Mike B and Spider and Morse Code, and there was a couple other dudes. They basically is like, yo, here, just copy my hard drive. So I went from having no music to, like, 98,000 songs.
Damn.
And so, shout out to those dudes for, like, putting the dude back on his feet.
Did you hook up with heavy hitters while you were still in Arizona?
While I was still in Arizona,
How did that whole thing happen?
So the East Coast heavy hitters, they were kind of branching out a little bit, and Felly was a heavy hitter on the West Coast, and so basically, Enough was like, hey, if you know a couple guys on the West Coast, we want to try to start getting some West Coast affiliation, and Felly knew I was doing my thing in Phoenix. I think mainly through my program director at the time. And he's like, yo, like, I want to get you on. And I was like, all right, cool. So that was basically it. It was just like he co-signed me. So I was heavy hitter, yeah.
Oh, shit.
What year was that?
That was probably, I want to say maybe like 99, 2000.
Now, what did that mean? Like when you were heavy hitter?
It was, honestly, you were part of it. To me, it was, at the time especially, you were part of a distinguished crew.
Yeah.
Like people knew the heavy hitter DJs. People knew Camilo enough, Pro Style. There was a handful of them, Aggravated in Houston. At the time, there's probably like...
It was like a badge of honor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just like, yo, if you're a heavy hitter, it's like, damn, you got respect.
Especially that drop. That
Yeah.
Heavy
hitters, suckers.
Yeah.
And so it was like you said, badge of honors, and it was like you were respected. Like, oh shit, that dude's a heavy hitter. Okay, it was just kind of like you had a little bit of clout,
It was like a terror squad chain.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, you know, in Phoenix, no one really knew what that was really at the time.
Right.
I mean, some of the heads knew, especially like back then, you remember like 106 and Park was on and like Enough
Yeah.
would be DJing on that. And so people would kind of know what that was from and the affiliation from that.
So did you get like those leather jackets?
Nah. I did get some things though. I got some cool things. But I didn't get a leather jacket.
You know those varsity jackets?
Yeah,
isn't
the
it?
jackets
The
were
Letterman
hot.
jackets,
The
right?
jackets were hot.
Yeah.
So it was what it was too is they were trying to brand it in a way where eventually all the guys would come up. But the problem was like when things were coming to the organization, it would only be like, oh, we only need like 3 DJs. So it was a lot of the times it's like the main guys were going to get those gigs, you know, or those benefits, and which I totally understood. And you know, so it was just kind of like, yeah, it's cool being part of it, but like you're not fully part of it, you know. So like they'd be like, oh, you know, Pepsi wants to do this thing with like 4 heavy hitter DJs, and then those DJs got like a contract and they got loot and like the whole night, and I'm like, damn, like I want to be one of those 4 DJs though, like
Right.
you know. So it was just tough, and I mean, I get it. They can't be like, okay, well, we got 30 guys, we got to get 30 guys, you know, all this loot. You got to get 30 guys, you know, the gear. You got to get 30 guys the magazine ad in the source, you know, all those things. And
Double
it
XL.
just couldn't do it. And just it was what it was. And at the time that I kind of started phasing out from the heavy hitters was right around the time AM picked me up and started his agency, which at the time was called the Disc Jockey Company. And then later it turned into Deckstar.
Well, I want to talk about a little bit before that because I remember when I first met you and when we got our first manager, Zack Getman, right?
Yeah.
At that time, I remember you telling me the story, and I think you were one of the first guys to say this. You're like, I had to quit radio in order to get nightclubs
Yes.
because, you know, when I do radio, it attracts the radio crowd,
Yep.
and the nightclubs don't want to book me because they don't want a radio crowd going to their nightclub.
That's exactly right.
And so you actually quit radio.
Well, I did. I remained doing a lot of the clubs that were involved with radio. So, like a lot of the promoters would actually buy commercials and airtime on the radio station and promote, and then promote. Also, we have Fashen from 98.3 or 92.3. We'd switched channel cumes somewhere along the line. Anyhow, so I would continue to do those spots. But then at that kind of like phasing into like 2003, 2004, 2005, that's when like the open format thing kind of started to buzz. And that's when like dudes like you and Vice and all these guys would start getting booked in Arizona. And I was like, well, yo, like I have all those records too. Like I want to play those records. Like I know how to play those records. I want to do some of those spots because I also knew they, you know, some of them were a little more upscale.
And at
the
time
money
we
was
were,
better.
We were calling it mashup or
Mashups,
yeah.
But so yeah, so it was just like it was something that was like, yo, like I want to do that too, and I knew a lot of these guys from radio and from going to like the Mix Show Power Summit.
Because when I met you, you were done with radio by that
Yeah,
time.
I had already quit. I left radio in 2007. So I started in '96 and I was there till Halloween weekend 2007. And Graham Funky is the guy that basically broke me in. Pause.
It gets much worse than the past 5 minutes.
In Arizona market. So Graham and Stone were getting booked at like a couple different clubs in the Scottsdale market, and it was those clubs that Graham would be like, yo, he would say to me like, why don't you play these spots? I'm like, yo, they don't want me because I'm on the radio. They're like I attract the urban crowd was
Right.
their exact words.
AKA the black crowd.
AKA the black crowd. Anyhow, they so Graham he was talking to some girl that he knew out there, and he was like, "Yo, like how at one of the clubs, he's like, why don't you guys hire Fashen? Like he lives here. Like why don't you have him? Oh yeah, he's on the radio." So we can't do that. And he's like, you guys are sleeping on this dude. Like, this dude can do these things, and this dude would crush it in your club. And you're being biased against him because he's on the radio. So she talked to the owner or the manager, whoever it was, and talked them into letting me do a night. Mm-hmm. And I did the night, and they're like, wow, yeah, like, can we have you every Sunday?
Dope.
And so that was kind of like my in, where I kind of started to get out of doing just strictly the urban parties and start doing some of the other parties as well.
Were you getting the same money or more money?
It was actually a little bit more, not a lot more.
Right.
Local never really changed. I feel like the money locally never really changed.
Even now, it's still probably the same.
Honestly, I don't know what it is now. I'm
Uh-huh.
sure the guys make a little bit more now, but I honestly don't know what they make. But
And so you were doing the Scottsdale thing for a minute, and
Yeah.
I remember, I don't know what year it was. When did you join? When did you leave our management? Was it when I left?
well, first I was kind of with them and AM at the same time.
Oh yeah.
At the same time, because AM was just getting his thing off the ground. Excuse me.
How did you meet AM?
So I met AM it was like 96 or 97. I met AM
Even that far.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I met him in the Priority Records building, which was the CNN building right there on Sunset and Cahuenga. We had a mutual friend. His name is R.O.A.D. Edwards. He was working for Priority Records at the time, and me and Z-Trip, we took a road trip to L.A. just for the day, and we hooked up with R.O.D. and Carmelita from she was on some morning show with I don't think it was with Sway. I'm brain farting anyway. We met them at the office, and at the time, Nick Vidal from the Baker Boys was there, and AM was there. They were there going to get their promo records. And so my boy Rod was like, "Hey, Fashen, Z-Trip, this is DJ AM. He was one of the local dudes here." I was like, "Oh shit, okay." And I kind of also knew him because I had done a Cornerstone mixtape, and then AM had done a Cornerstone mixtape like right after mine. And so I was like, "Oh, hey, okay." And so we kind of like kept in touch a little bit. Back then, like AOL email
Messenger?
was just bubbling. You know, the first iMac just came out. So, you know, we kind of kept in touch on email a little bit. And then out of nowhere, he just blew up. And he was like the celebrity dude. And at the time, that's when he was dating Nicole Richie and stuff. And one of my friends who was a promoter in Arizona, he was like, "I booked your boy AM to do this party. And I booked Kim Kardashian to host it." And at that time, Kim Kardashian, she was like, that was the D list. She's like, "Oh, you can't get Paris and Nicki? I guess we'll get Kim."
This is before the
Yeah.
This is when she was like Paris's like
stylist.
best friend, right?
Yeah.
Stylist,
Closet.
Yeah.
Cleaner or some shit like that.
So they did that party, and he's like, "Do you want to open?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so we did the party, and it was weird. It was like in the afternoon. It was like 4 in the afternoon, but it was like a packed nightclub. It was all dark and whatever. And I did my thing, and at the time I was playing my mashups, and AM was like, "Bro," he's like, "honestly," he's like, "I'm getting ready to start this agency, and I want you to be part of it. Are you in?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "What do I do?" And he goes, "Travel around and make money." And I was like, "Sounds like a plan."
Nice.
And that was basically the start of it. And I was like, "Okay, cool." And I was like, he's like, "Yeah, I'll get at you this week." I was like, "All right, cool." And I didn't think anything of it. And then he called me. He's like, "So are you ready to do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what are we doing?"
And this is when you were at Zack with our manager.
I hadn't even got with Zack yet.
Oh, okay.
I hadn't even got with Zack yet. I still was nobody. I hadn't done anything. And then Ann called me. He's like, "Yo, what are you doing next Friday? Or no, next Thursday?" And he's like, and I'm like, just nothing during the day. I gotta be on the radio in the morning, and then Friday morning I gotta be on the radio again at 6 a.m. And he's like, "Can you take Friday off?" I was like, "All right, cool." He's like, "I got a gig for you in Sacramento." I'm like, "All right, cool." And he goes,
Was it the Park?
"Was."
Nice.
And he's like,
Park was your first gig?
"Park was my first gig with AM."
Wow.
And he's like,
This was Serato already, right?
"Yeah, this is Serato. This is Serato."
Big shout to the Park Sacramento.
Yeah.
It's still going, right?
OG, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he's like, I forget what it was. It was like $4 or $5 grand. And he's like, "I got you that." And I'm like, "No way." And he's like, "No, for real."
What the fuck?
Oh shit, man.
I'm like, "Dude, there's no way." And he goes, "No, I'm serious." I'm like, "Okay." And he goes, "Are you down?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I go, "What do I got to do?" And he goes, "Dude, just show up on time and just be prepared to not go to work on Friday because you're not going to make it." I was like, "All right, cool." And I went and I did it, and it was crazy. And they paid me cash at the end of the night, and I was like,
4 to 5 G's in cash.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was at least 4. Yeah.
Damn.
And I was like, "Holy shit!" And I got on the plane, and I remember had a stack, and I was like, "Holy shit! Like I can't believe I'm fucking
man.
going home with this. Like, it feels illegal. It feels illegal."
Oh shit, man.
And I got back to Arizona, and I went to the radio station. And they're like, "Oh, now you want to show up?" And I'm like, "Dude, I took the day off. Like I'm chill." And then my PD kind of started to get like in my face about it a little bit, and then and I was like, "Whatever." And so I kept doing it for about probably like another month after that, and I was like, "You know what? I don't need this shit anymore. I'm out." And so I quit radio, and then AM was like, yeah, dude. He goes, you don't need that. He goes, I can't book you if you have to be on the air every day. And I'm like, all right, cool. I was like, yeah. I was like, if you're going to keep this shit going on, then let's do it. So that was it. I bailed out of radio, and then that was it.
So
You know what? I have a question. Did you have to give AM a cut of your money?
Well,
A percentage?
the agency got the
Okay,
percentage, but AM was one of the owners of the agency.
Oh,
But
right.
so technically, he did get a cut. But what that was is I have no idea.
So whatever you picked up was you.
Whatever. No, I think whatever I picked up, either I don't know if there was a deposit center or what, but either way, like I walked away with more money than I'd ever made doing anything.
Yeah. So if there was a cut, you didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, either he got it or he took it from like another gig that he booked
Mm.
because they paid me
So
cash.
now your rate was $4,000.
No, certain spots we were able to get certain amounts of money. It's the same today. Certain places you play.
But it was also at the time when people were like, "We want AM,"
Yeah.
and he's like, "I can't do it, but this dude is exactly like me."
Yeah.
And they'll just keep the AM rate kind of.
Damn.
And I mean, that, looking back at it, like, it definitely benefited guys like me by being able to do that.
A lot of dudes.
Yeah, a lot of dudes got put on like that, and you know, and I get it. It just kind of sucks. It's just like, well, they only really wanted me because they wanted AM more, but at the same time, I looked at it like, well, you know what though? He basically was like, yo, like, you deserve to be in one of these spots, and I'm gonna make sure you get yours.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna dangle the AM carrot.
Yeah, but you know, Fashen. The hands.
It is what it
that
is.
happens with Z Trip when he handed you the black colleges.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And like the black fraternities
Yeah.
or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's just, that's how you pass it down to how it is. It's happening now, like even with Jamie. Like, you know, there are gigs that we can't do.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you know, he gets handed those gigs.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just the way it works out.
Yeah.
But
So
I mean, four G's is a lot for your first one.
Yeah,
It
no,
is,
no,
man.
for my,
Yeah, right.
and that was the first one. So then, yeah,
Shit,
eventually I
man.
got linked up with Zach, and to be honest with you, I'm seriously brain farting on how I linked up with Zach.
Yeah, it was too.
Yeah, I know Mike
Drummond
was also involved, but I can't remember exactly how he got a hold of me. But
I know how they. I know they book acts, and they probably were trying to
San
book
Diego.
AM, and they couldn't get him, and they got you, or I don't know. Someone. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
It
What
was-
was the name of the agency again? I forgot.
There was no name, but he got a name later.
Yeah.
It was just Zack Getman. But Zack Getman and Mike Drummond
Yeah.
were a team, and they used to book
A lot of artists,
rappers.
Yeah,
Like
rappers, like old school
yeah.
rappers. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, like they were really close with like Slick
Yeah.
Rick.
Mhm.
I remember Slick Rick was like their homie.
Yep.
And they would book a lot of that in San Diego where they were based.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then, you know, they would pull, and then they just saw the mashup DJ scene growing, so they're like, yo, let's just book these dudes. But they didn't want to manage us, they just wanted to book us.
Yeah.
'Cause then
That's dope.
and Zach was like an amazing salesperson.
Yeah.
Like he could cold call a nightclub, and he would just keep calling them every day until they fucking booked.
He would be
one
like,
of his
you don't
DJs.
understand. You need this guy. Like, you have to have this guy. And they're like, look, dude, we don't need shit. And it's like, no, bro, I'm telling you. Like, you fucking need this guy. Like, it's going to, like, it's going to change your world.
And the guy would be like, I gotta go. He's like, okay, I'll call you tomorrow.
Yeah, no.
He keep
And
calling
he
him,
did.
and he keep
Damn,
calling him,
man.
and he
And
keep
just-
calling him.
Exactly.
And then the guy would finally be like, all right, you know what? Let's give him a try this week in next month.
Yeah.
And then he just needed DJs that would perform, that would execute. And then, so I remember he signed you, and then Sean Perry told me about it, and then somehow they signed me and Sean, and then we just started getting booked. But like me and you
Yeah.
were the first workhorses for him.
Yeah.
Where he would send Fashen. So when Zach got Fashen, I somehow got in the mix, and he would just send me somewhere. He would send Fashen, and he would send Fashen. They would like, I love Fashen. Do you have any more? He'd be like, yeah, I'll send you Crooked. We love Crooked. Who else do you have?
Yeah.
Right.
And then he would
Fashen
send
again.
he would send Sean, or he would send other. Then it started growing, and I remember like, you know, Neva would maybe get some here
Yeah.
and there. You know, so like, and then it became like a small agency. But by that time, before it even grew, you left.
What was the name again?
Undisputed Art.
Undisputed
what it
Artist. That's
was,
right.
yeah.
Well, you know what it was? I was paying commission to both AM and those guys, and so it was just like, yo, so I was doing the work, but then I was paying out like two different things in commission. I was like, yo, like I can't do this. And not only that, like what it was I think one of the reasons I left too was, didn't Zach kind of start to get out of it at the time, and it was mainly Mike just doing it, But then AM side was booking me way more. So just like, well, look, like these guys are doing all the bookings. I'm doing less bookings over here. Like I can't do 20 bookings with AM and 2 bookings with you and then give you guys 20 cuts.
Yeah.
I can't do that. So it was like a mutual thing.
Who was one of the first DJs that was there with you for the AM stuff? Were you like one of the first 5? Or?
Spider.
Well, you guys have that like kind of famous or like photo shoot with
I'm about to say that.
the usual
lineup?
suspects. Yeah,
That's there was them Jeans, Ellie Escobar,
Steve Aoki.
Scene, Aoki, Grand Theft,
Mike
Morse
B.
Code.
Morse Code, not Mike B.
No.
Morse Code, them Jeans. Did I say that already?
Yeah.
Aoki.
He
We
said
already
it.
said
Aoki, AM. Who else was there?
I think that's it.
There might have been one more.
Steve Wonder.
Steve Wonder.
Was Kevin Scott or no?
Yeah, Kevin Scott. And Kevin
How
Scott.
can we sp-
Yeah.
yeah, how can
And
we
I
forget
think that was it. I think
Spider,
That was
you said, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
He said that's why.
Yo, fuck you, man.
That's
But,
crazy.
But yeah, but that honestly, that was towards the end. Like, I want to say, AM passed not long after that photo.
That's crazy.
Wow, was that soon?
Yeah,
Was it?
like a few months. I want to say.
Damn.
I want to say that photo shoot was in February. He passed away that August.
That's
Really?
crazy.
Yeah.
I felt like it was like a year prior to
Yeah,
that.
I thought it was like a
Yeah,
couple,
I thought it was like
a
two.
couple of years.
I thought like 2 years.
From that photo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because
No, because it was like Travis Barker and AM. That was like at least 2 years after that.
And then wasn't Steve Wonder DJing that Jet
yeah.
at the time? Yeah.
All right.
I think your timeline's a little off.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
Fashion.
yeah,
Sorry.
the long nights of that vodka catching
Sorry.
up.
Well, maybe like a year and a half. Because how much longer from the plane
I
crash?
think it was like almost 2
No,
to
it was
3
a,
years.
it was a year after the plane crash.
Okay.
I like
So
kinda
then, you know,
exactly to the
so then
date.
what it was,
Oh, it was
so
the
that,
plane crash.
that photo shoot was probably right before the plane crash.
Oh,
Maybe,
Okay.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
because
what
he
it was.
died in August and the plane crash was like the year prior in October.
Okay, so then so that shoot was like that summer or that like probably around this time or of that year of the plane crash.
What was your relationship like with AM? Because you have a tattoo of him.
I do. Honestly, we weren't like super close. Like we were good friends, but it wasn't like I hung out with him like all the time. You know, I mean, he was super busy, doing his thing, and you know, like every now and then I would be on a gig with him. I did a couple gigs where I was on with him and Travis in San Francisco at I think it was called Mezzanine. It was like I think it was AM's birthday party one of the years, and then there was a few things, and then I would just always the only time I really get to see him is when I would get booked at Banana Split to do his Sunday party, and then that was just it. He would always be there, so it was just like okay, so I always get to see him then. But on the weekends, like he would always be traveling, and then at that time, then I was always traveling too. So
How was Banana Split? Because I was
it
too
was
young
the
to
greatest
get
party I've ever done, or been part of, or even been to
in. Was this like
ever.
Let's talk about your move to LA, because that's a big part of it, right? You moving to LA.
So
Why did you move to LA?
So shortly after leaving the radio station, I probably stayed in Phoenix like another year and a half, and AM was like,
This motherfucker, he got that, he
Huh.
got that $4,000
He's like,
cash
"Fuck
wire.
y'all."
He's like, yo, fuck y'all.
well, no. But here's the thing too. When I was on the air,
He said the program director got in his face like, yo, man, you can't be calling off. And she's like, yo,
Nah.
man, you
Well,
know what, man? Y'all can stick this shit up your motherfucking ass. I got you just counting the money in his
honestly,
face.
what really kind of stemmed
he
from
probably
that.
threw 100 on the floor.
So when we switched frequencies from 92.3 to 98.3, not only did we switch frequencies, but the afternoon show that I was on with ended up being on the morning show. And so I was mixing the morning show, and they told me, they're like, yo, we want you to do like some of that like that like mashup thing like on your mix and like kind of flip it. We just want our morning show mix to be different than any other mix during the day. So at the time I was getting like I was downloading like a lot of like Airs and Cosmo Baker like mashups and like crazy like Be More, like, you know, Scotty B and like all that kind of stuff, like the Be More stuff. And I was playing all that stuff like on the air, and people were like, "Yo, what is this motherfucker playing at 6 a.m. like on the air?"
Right.
But people were loving it. People were loving it, and they were like, "Yo, whatever you're doing, just keep doing that." And so my program director was like, "Yo, I like what you're doing," and he also was program director at an alternative station that was under the same umbrella. And he's like, "Yo, I want you to do a Friday mix Like the same thing, only I want you to do kind of like lean more like on the alternative side, and then put in some of the hip hop and stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, what are you gonna pay me? And he's like, I'm not. And I'm like, what do you mean you're not gonna pay me? I was like, he's like, well, you work for the company. I was like, nah, I work for Power 92.3 or 98.3. I work for this radio station. I don't work for that radio station. I was like, you work for both, and you get paid to do both. I was like, if you want me to do something for them, then you have to pay me to do it. He's like, all right, well, fuck you then.
Tough guy.
Yeah.
That $4,000, man.
$4,000.
Fuck that, man.
You ever smell $4,000 when you wave it in front of your face?
You smacked him with 100.
So anyway, I told him, I was like, yo, like for real, like you got to
I ain't
pay
taking
me.
this shit no more, man.
He did what never
You
did.
get paid for both radio stations. I want to get paid for both radio stations.
He pulled out 100. Said, "Yo, just leave me alone."
No, he actually said, yo, well, he's like, well, fuck it then. We'll find someone else to do it. And I was like,
I ain't your bitch.
good luck.
Listen, I ain't your bitch, man. I ain't doing this shit no more.
I told him, good luck. Find someone. No one else at the time, no one was doing what I was doing in Phoenix at the time. That's obviously different now, but for then, like, no one was doing what I was doing, especially on the radio. No one was playing the Be More stuff, playing some of these
I remember
edits.
when I first met you, I think you even crashed at my crib in Vegas a couple of times.
Yeah, I did.
And I was like, I remember because we would always try to trade music.
Mhm.
This motherfucker would be sending me all this Baltimore house shit. I'm like, God damn, I don't want none of this. I don't want all this shit.
Man, I still love that shit. Still
He would
love
send
it.
me all-
House.
he's like, man, because I think you were doing Banana Split, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
Maybe
no.
was it?
Yeah.
And then he'd be like, man, this is hitting that Banana. I'd be like, man, really? You were like, yeah, man, this shit kills. And I'm like, fuck. And I think you were one of the first dudes to give me like the Steve Aoki like Warp
Okay.
1 point something.
Maybe.
And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and I was like, y'all playing this? Like, man, it hit so hard. And I was
Sweaty.
like, yeah.
What time was Banana Split?
It was Sunday nights. It was every Sunday, and it was from 10 p.m. until 2 a.m.
Oh,
But you were getting a reputation for that Baltimore house shit.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
At that time, I remember.
I don't know.
I could be wrong because I remember when we would talk about it, it would be like you and
I would play a lot of it.
Yeah, but it would be like you and Clever, like we
Yeah.
would talk about Clever in Atlanta.
Mhm.
Be like, yo, he's doing this, and then you like Clever and you were like kind of the dudes that were
Yeah.
on the come up. Like you guys were like
Yeah.
the next ones to bubble up. Yeah, and then so what made you want finally say I'm gonna go to LA?
Well, so like right around that same
How
time.
big was the bag? Like you must have gotten a real big.
Well,
bag.
first off, here. So no. The bag was not big. Here's the thing. So I left the radio station. Basically, the day after my program director was like, I'll find someone else to do this mix. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. So I went home that night and I was like, you know what? Fuck this guy. This guy can eat a dick. Next day I went in and I told my music director at the time, who was also one of the on-air personalities in the morning show. I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm putting in my 30 days. He's like, no way. And I'm like, no, for real, I'm putting in my 30 days. And he's like, well, first he came to me and was like, you know what? So-and-so was mad at you. You know, he told me, you know, he didn't like that you said no. And blah. I was like, yo, I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, I was like, everyone in this building is on these crazy contracts and stuff. I was like, I'm still making, like, shithead money. I've been here 11 years. I was like, I'm good. Like, I don't need it. I was like, I'm good. I was like, I'm valuable to this company. And if you guys don't see the value, then I'm just going to skate. And he was like, you're not going to leave. You're not going to leave. I was like, watch me, bro. I was like, my last show is Halloween weekend. And I did. And I never spoke to my program director again after that.
Damn.
Yeah. And until I deleted Facebook 2 weeks ago, he was still like asking me to like his like pages and shit.
Not like
Yo,
yours, buddy.
like my new page. And, you know, and it just, I'm not one, I try not to hold a grudge. I've let a lot of grudges, you know, go over the years. But that's just one that, like, really, like, I just kept. And, like, he would say things to me like, oh, you know, like, the world doesn't need another Funk Master Flex, or the world doesn't need another this and another that. And I was like, bro, I'm myself. I'm fucking Fashen. Like, I'm not Funk Flex. Like, I got my own personality. I do my own thing. I'm my own entity. I'm my own brand. I was like, so to tell me like, oh, you can't do this, you're just gonna be a radio mixer, you know, and you're gonna make this shitty $50 a mix for the rest of your life. Like, nah, man. Like, the balls hang low, catch them.
Damn, man.
Bars.
Bars.
Motherfucker.
I ain't taking this shit no more. I'm a heavy hitter, goddammit. I'm a heavy hitter.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so I got out of that, and then shortly after I quit, my mother passed away, And then 9 months later, my stepfather passed away. And then
Rest in peace.
God damn.
thank you. AM, he called me. He said, "Look," he's like, "you need to not only get away from the hardship." He's
Yeah.
like, "but you need." He goes, "I need you in LA." He goes, I'm getting you good work around the country." He goes, "but it'll be easier for me to sell you as a DJ that lives in Hollywood than a DJ that lives in Phoenix." And and honestly, like, that stuck with me a lot, because a lot of places that I go, and I'm sure you guys get this too when you travel, kids are like, "Yo, man, like, how do I get out of this, or how do I do this?" And I always tell them, like, "Man, I'm gonna tell you exactly what AM told me. If you're in a market that could be unappealing to someone who wants to spend the money, you got to get out of that market." That's just the bottom line. Like, you know, somebody recently asked me, I forget who it was, but they were like, "What do I do?" And I'm like, "Dude, no one wants to book dude from whatever place you're in."
Right.
You know, they want to know that they're getting, like, what's the attraction? Like, how do they sell you in the market they live in? And, you know, and like with me at the time, like, AM was getting me some of those like little celebrity gigs, and you know, and they call the clubs and be like, "Yo, he just DJ'd Kim Kardashian's birthday, like, last night. Like, if you want him, this is how much he is."
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like how that all stemmed. But he couldn't be like, "Yo, you gotta get this guy's from Phoenix. He's crazy. He goes and eats the honey bears." So yeah,
I have a question. So AM had his hands. He helped you get these gigs, right?
he did.
He was the one that was talking to the.
Probably not personally,
Oh,
but
okay.
but there was influence. But again, a lot of those gigs started with they wanted AM, and so the agency was like, "Well, if you want AM, you got to book Kevin Scott, you got to book Fashen, you got to get it." You know, like, okay, let's do a month. Okay, so the first 3 weeks you get these guys, and then on the last week you get AM. And they're like, "All right, let's do it."
Oh, that's
and they always made sure that we got taken care of first, and AM went last.
Sounded like a combo deal.
So they weren't like, "Oh, we just got AM. All right, well, we already got what we wanted, so fuck the other dudes."
I see. Yeah.
Right.
But it was it was kind of like a
Shouts to Matt Colin and Sophie McNeil. They were the
Yeah.
bookings.
Matt was the guy. He is the guy. I love Matt.
But it was one of those things where it was kind of like they were, you know, like it was giving like the nightclubs an ultimatum, like it, you know what I'm saying? Like
It was.
And I feel like because AM was a sneakerhead,
Yeah.
he got a lot of that shit from the sneakers, like
Yeah.
from Nike, where like, all right, you want this exclusive,
Yeah.
you got to buy these quick strikes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's
Makes sense.
exactly how it worked. It's kind of like, yo, well, you want AM? AM costs however much, like 20,000.
Yeah.
And then Fashen and Kevin Scott and Spider and all these guys are going to be $5K. So your budget every month will be $5K, 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 or every week, and then you get AM that one last week.
Yep.
And you need to sign a 3-month contract.
Mhm.
Damn.
And yeah, no, that's how that worked. And again, at first I was like, you know, like, I don't want to be. At first I was kind of like, I don't want to be the club just because they want AM and they have to have me first. But then I was like, you know what? I get it.
But then you saw.
But I would talk to AM.
So that money.
He saw
But
that
see-
bank statement.
But I talked to AM about that too. I was
Man,
like,
this isn't that bad, actually.
and he said, he goes, honestly, he goes, there's guys, he goes, that I know are good, and he's like, and you deserve to be heard in these other markets.
Yeah.
And that's what he said. He's like, you guys deserve to be heard in these other markets. And he's like, how else are you going to get heard if I can't help get you there? And I was like, all right.
Wow.
And so, I mean, he forever changed my life. I mean, I'm sure the other DJs that, you know, he put
Right.
on can say the same thing, but he forever changed my
I
life.
mean, I would say there's I'm sure there's a handful, but definitely 2 DJs were very instrumental in your career. That would be Z Trip and AM.
Boom.
No one else can say that shit, by the way.
Not at all.
No.
Boom.
Yeah,
Fuck.
that's
Yeah.
great. So then you were like, fuck it, I'm gonna move to LA.
Yeah, I literally moved once. Me and my sister.
And you know, rest in peace to your mom. I remember when that happened. That really was a hard time for you.
Yeah. Which it's kind of crazy, not to like change the subject, but like a lot of kids come up to me still. Like I made this Be More like edit of Sister Nancy Bam Bam.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
I
remember
heard that one.
I got
It was
Okay.
at you played it at Banana Split. There's
Okay.
a video of it.
So the day before my mother passed, she was in the hospice, and I was at home, and I was like, how can I take my mind off this? And I made that track that day, and then she passed the next day. And so like when people are like, yo, like I play that all the time, like it reminds me of like that
Right.
that one moment. That was like the first thing I ever kind of like truly like made. I mean, granted, like I didn't completely make it. It's a Sister Nancy sample, but it was something that like people attach my name to it still. Like people still come to me like, yo, I still play that. And like, yo, I don't even think I have it in my computer anymore. Like honestly, but it was literally, it was like the day before, like that day.
It's funny how things work out like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's
So-
almost like it's there to remind you every so often.
but it just pushed me to do something. Like it was just like, okay, I could sit here and like, you know, grovel and I was sad, you know, but I also knew it was coming. You know, she was in the hospice for like a month, and I was just like, you know what, like it's time to like do something creative and just keep it moving. Like I knew it was coming, and then literally like 2 days after that, you know, AM called me and he's like, bro, it's time to come to LA. And I was like, all right, let me.
So it's almost like a chapter was closing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And he's like, you gotta leave. And I, you know, me and my sister, we've you know, settled my mother's estate and everything. And then literally like a month later, I was out, and I got to LA August 1st, 2009, and then Adam passed away 28 days later.
Shit.
Yeah.
Was it that soon?
Yep.
Just crazy.
August 28th, 2009.
That's
So-
crazy.
Yeah, and I was like freaking out. I was like, holy shit. Like in 13 months, I literally just lost my mom, my stepdad, and now like this person who just basically changed my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, now it's going to happen. And so I was kind of sweating. And then, and we did. A lot of the guys on Dexstar, we sweated because when AM passed, like Dexstar stopped answering phones from a lot of us for a while.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
then we were like, yo, like I was like, holy shit, I just moved to LA. My rent just went up 3 times the amount it was in Phoenix. I just moved my whole life out here. It's the first time I've ever left Scottsdale. Like, and I can't even get my agency to answer my phone call. So,
Yeah, man.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
But you know what? I persevered, and I'm fucking here today.
Damn.
So like when you were doing Banana Split, because I want to talk about that because that was really an epic time in
It was
in
the
LA.
best party I've ever been to or had been part of.
When was that starting around 2008?
I would say earlier.
06, 07?
I had to, yeah, at least I had to be 06, 07.
And you were just flying in from Arizona.
I played it. They called me the unofficial resident because I played there more times than any other guest that they had, and I probably played it maybe 2-3 times a year for a few years, and
Like 2 to 3 times a year?
a year.
Oh.
Like there were guys that played it once. Period.
Damn.
Like they didn't play it again. But yeah, it was amazing. Obviously, I would try to schedule it around something, you know, like, oh, I'm flying in from wherever. Let me go and hang in LA. And at that time, like Steve Wonder, he had a spot like right off of Beverly, and he'd be like, yo, you can crash on my couch. I was like, cool. And I crashed on his couch. I would go do the party, and then I would fly back to Arizona. Or when I first started playing, I was still living in Arizona. But
And D Mike B he was like the resident.
he was the resident. He was the resident. Like he opened it every single time from start to finish, and then AM would do it. He would headline when he was there, or he would do like in the middle set, and then he would always like feature like whoever, Justice, you know, Busy P,
Red Food.
like a lot of the Ed Banger guys like came through there, and but I mean
sum it up for motherfuckers that don't really know what the Banana Split parties were like.
it was okay. Here's the thing. If you loved music and if you loved like electro music, like, you know, that's when all that like Saw, Mastercraft, all that kind of stuff was so hot, and then all the Be More stuff was also hot. But then also like all the indie, like crazy like indie records were like hot. If you liked all that stuff, that's where you went on a Sunday night. And what was crazy was there were kids that would drive from like Riverside, which is like an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And they would drive to Hollywood to go to the party, and like a lot of these kids didn't have money. Like they looked like scrubs, and like, I mean, I really didn't care. I was like, whatever. But AM saw that, and he was like, yo, I only want kids at this party that want to be here for the music. And he knew a lot of these kids didn't have money, and so every Sunday he would put a keg of beer on the dance floor and was like, here you go. When it's done, it's done. And kids would get there early, and they would drink that keg of beer, and then once it was empty, they pulled off the dance floor. And by that time, the dance floor was packed. I mean, it was sweaty packed. And it was just this little club called Las Palmas. which he later, after he purchased it, he called it LAX.
Yeah.
And it was right there on Las Palmas in Hollywood. And
It's
like,
a little spot too.
it's a little spot. But like celebrities would pull up, and the door guy would be like, "Nah, you ain't getting in." And then
Damn.
these like little like broke ass kids, he'd be like, "Yeah, go ahead." And it was like that was the best part of it. It was like it was all about the music.
I mean, that's honestly that's what made New York clubs work. I feel like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Uh,
It wasn't even about the money, right? It was just
There was no money.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. That's what I heard.
we got like some drink tickets and like $100.
Mhm.
Like there was no money. There was no
Yeah.
cover. And it was just like, you know, AM wasn't going to shell out of his pocket every week for guests. It was just like you wanted to be at that party. Like you were willing to pay to play at that party.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I'll give you $100 to let me play that party.
Was there a cover charge for that or no?
No cover charge, no.
Damn.
No.
and so like, I mean, what were y'all playing? I mean, I remember y'all
All your favorite Baltimore house records
all that shit.
I saw that video where you were doing the Bam Bam shit, and I was like, shit.
with Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah,
and,
right next to you.
and AM, yeah.
And so,
Shout out to my bro Glenjamin. He shot that video.
what was the most epic party there? The most.
Not that night. Well, see, I can't say what was the most epic party
Well,
there.
for you.
For me, it was the night before we took that Usual Suspects photo shoot. All the guys were in town for the photo shoot that Monday morning. And that Sunday night, I was scheduled to play. I forget who was scheduled to play with me, but it was a packed house. It was just insane. Like, just the vibe was so fucking crazy that night. And I mean, you can see, I have some of the pictures, and you can see like all the DJs that were in, like Danny Days was there. Just a lot of, you know, Sprite, a lot of the LA regulars were there,
Yeah.
and just there was a lot of people in town. Paris was there, and Paris was still pretty hot at the time. She was still a big deal. Like, you know, if Paris was in your club, you know, the paparazzi were outside hanging out and whatever. And I remember that night, while I was playing, she had the mic, and she's like, hold up, DJ. And we cut the music, and she stood up on this table, and I mean, the place was jam-packed, and she's like, I fucking love everyone in here. I want to fuck all of you. It was fucking nuts.
Fashion's like, I go first.
No, I was like, did she just say what I thought she said? It was crazy. But like everyone was started cheering. Everyone was like, and these were like,
And you were DJing right then?
yeah. And then
So after she did this speech,
I forget what I played next. But I mean, it was just like, I don't know.
what was that Paris song?
Stars.
It definitely was not that.
Stars Are Blind?
I can
Yeah,
honestly
Stars
say
Are Blind.
Damn,
I
how do you
never-
remember that shit?
I never played that record. I never even had it on my
I
laptop.
still got it in my laptop. It's like a
Of
little.
course you do.
Yeah.
It
course you
it
do.
sounds like reggae-ish, right?
No.
Scott Storch.
I'm chill.
It sounds like one of his throwaway records, but you know, it was Paris Hilton. shit.
Yeah, I think I threw it away when I
sounded
got it.
He threw it down the hall and
Sounded like a Mariah Carey throw.
Yeah, I don't know, but that was the wildest party I ever played there. And I remember like you would close the night out with like Peter Bjorn and John, like Young Folks was like the hot record at the time.
Oh, it
Bro,
does
that's-
have a record. Yeah.
Don't mind.
It's DJ Fashen, everybody.
Oh my god.
Banana Split. Every Sunday.
You know you played that shit.
I did not play it.
You got a B-more version of that shit.
Be more version remix of that
The only reason I have it is because she used to come in the towel like regularly, and I used to have it on deck.
Yeah.
Like when she would
I
come
mean,
in.
that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, I probably maybe saw her like once or twice after that party, and then I never saw her again.
Yeah,
Whatever.
No
but,
one saw her.
But that night, that was the night. Like, I walked out of that party, and I did. I stayed with Steve Wonder that night, and then we went to the photo shoot the next day. I literally went to Steve's house. I was so fucking sweaty. Like, my pants were sweaty. You know when you're sweaty and you're like, all the way down to your fucking underwear is like sweaty as shit.
Swamp ass.
Swamp. Bro, I slept on Steve's couch. We got up. We went right to the photo shoot. I hadn't even changed. I was wearing the same shit from the night before.
Yeah, but you're notorious for that.
I'm sitting.
You don't bathe.
That's wrong.
You're notorious
That's
for not
wrong.
bathing, yo, and he won't smell.
Bro,
You won't smell. You're notorious for not. Yo, I remember, like, I think you crashed at my crib, and I didn't see you bathe once, yo.
bro, I probably stayed there for like 6
How
hours.
long was he there?
6 hours.
3 days.
You're,
2 days.
You're fucking
Damn.
crazy, bro. You're crazy.
But he didn't smell.
Don't get it wrong. I bathe.
He didn't smell.
Damn, man.
But you don't bathe that much.
Shut the fuck up.
Quit telling my secret out.
No, but for real, you don't smell though.
Probably because I bathe
You're
regularly.
like half Asian, because Asian motherfuckers don't smell.
Nah, bro. I know some Asian dudes that stink like shit.
Jesus.
Say their names. tell them why you mad, son.
Who?
Tell them why you mad.
I'll bleep him.
No. But for real, Fashen don't stink. Like he literally, his
It's a
shit
good
don't
thing.
stink.
I don't.
You don't bathe either, man.
I
Come
do.
on, man.
Will you stop with the bathing, bro?
It's all that
Every
water
other
he
day.
drinks.
Every other day.
Arm's length.
Every other
Arms
day.
length.
You splish splash. He does a little sink bath. That's it.
The bird
right?
bath.
How do we get on this subject?
Because you had swamp ass. No one
Oh.
ever says they have swamp ass.
Anyhow,
on the
we
podcast.
woke up the next day.
So you never changed.
I never
you kept
changed. We literally.
Doesn't change
Steve
the-
was like,
for,
"Yo, we gotta
for this
go."
big photo shoot.
Yeah, he was like, "Yo, we gotta go," and I was like,
Never,
"All right, cool."
Never. Can I say something?
What's-
I just want to explain why I'm saying that. He came to Vegas. He didn't pack anything. He's not gonna shower. He's just gonna go straight. How many people would do
he
that?
did not do that.
No,
How
Yeah.
many people would do that?
I mean, but
I
he's,
know,
he's
yeah.
out
Alright.
of here first flight.
All right.
It doesn't matter. You would still bring something.
Nah.
You would bring
A toothbrush,
You would bring something.
deodorant.
See, that's what I'm saying. He don't
Well, you-
stink.
I'm just
though.
saying.
Before my flight today, I took a shower. I scrubbed the ass. I brushed my teeth.
Scrub the ass.
The only thing I didn't do is I didn't get a chance to shave right here. I got to get a razor because my razor was
Let me
done.
see.
You see, I got a
I
little
don't
right
see
here.
anything there.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay,
got
yeah,
a
I
little
do.
dirt under my chin. Anyhow, clean shirt.
Wait, do that again. It looked like a ball
Deodorant.
sack.
It's a dumpling.
So you didn't get a room either.
Nah, because I'm literally going
'Cause
from
he
here to
doesn't-
hang out
he
with
doesn't-
with friends.
Fam, he doesn't bathe.
This guy.
There's one part of his
How
body.
often- how
there's-
often do you bathe?
I'm telling you, I bathe twice a day probably. But
Once.
wait.
Once, exactly.
Listen to me.
Once. Twice, maybe.
Everybody sweats in certain parts of their body more than others.
Yeah.
We haven't found out where Fashen sweats out of yet.
He doesn't sweat.
I want to know. Is
He's
he
going
out of
straight
you?
from here. He's going to hit the club.
And then he's going straight
And
to
then
the
I'm going
airport.
straight to the airport.
Back to the airport. Shower
That's some
when he
life
gets
he
home.
lives.
Stop by my crib before you get to the airport. I want to get a quick whiff of how you smell. Non-funky ass. He ain't gonna bathe till Thursday. I'm telling you.
Bruh.
You dumb. It's
Nah.
fucking you wild.
I don't believe that.
I believe that.
Nah.
How many towels you got at home? You just
4.
have like a hand towel.
He said 4. He knew.
4. I got 4 towels. Actually, technically, I
That
got
don't
5.
even sound right.
I got 5. I
You
got 5.
5 towels.
I
Nah.
got 2.
I got a gray one that somehow I just ended up still with one gray one.
Don't give me the colors. Come
and
on.
then when I moved into my recent apartment, I bought 4 brand new nice white towels. So I got 5.
But the point is that you could go 2 to 3 days without bathing and you still won't smell.
I don't know.
That's a yes.
Maybe.
So
Maybe
you
if I
don't-
didn't
so
move.
you
Maybe if
don't-
I sat in one spot.
You don't change your drawers. You just.
Maybe like once, twice a month.
Nice.
Yeah, right.
Joking.
I was like, yo.
See who caught that.
Anyway,
Bro, I got enough drawers, bro. I got a drawer full of drawers.
moving on.
This guy.
So you
Fuck you guys.
haven't bathed since Friday, but keep going.
Anyhow.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
What were we talking about anyway?
Exactly.
Oh, you went to the photo
Banana
shoot.
The photo
Went
shoot.
to the
That's
photo
right.
shoot.
Yeah.
Went to the photo shoot in the clothes I had on from the night before, still wet from being sweaty. And took the photo shoot, done, hopped on a plane, went back home. At that time, I still wasn't living in L.A.
Wow.
But yeah, that was the best night of
Everyone
Banana
looked
Split that I
hungover in
ever.
that photo shoot, by the way.
Bro, we went ham.
Scene looked hungover like a motherfucker. You ever seen
Yeah.
Scene in that picture?
I'm not even that main picture. I'm not even looking up. I'm looking at my phone
Yeah.
with sunglasses on because it was literally like first thing in the morning.
Jeez.
Hey, so when AM passed,
Mhm.
you know, what happened in your world? Because I mean, we all talk about when AM passed, and
Mhm.
even how the industry changed, like the music changed.
The industry changed overnight.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, people got scared. Like, the people who were booking and who were booking AM and who were booking all the people that AM spoke on behalf of, they got scared. They were like, okay, now we don't have this guy. Like, how
does this work?
How is this all gonna like change? You know, like it's like we feature this guy. It's like if with this guy gone, like how do we feature these other guys or what's going on? And I think that was one of the main reasons Dexstar was just like, look, we need to come up with a new strategy, and again, I mean, however they wanted to go or whatever route they decided to go. I mean, once I left shortly after. I want to say like 3 or 4 of us. We all left on the same day.
I mean, can you talk about why y'all left?
I left because they weren't answering my phone calls, and then it
So,
got
I mean,
it got to the point where I was like starting to calling all these places and like I'll give you one example. There was a club in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And the guy, he's no longer with the club. He's doing something else now. He's in a totally other industry now. But at the time, I call him and I'd be like, bro, I was like, I really need, like, these guys aren't answering the phone. They're not booking anything. Like, I need to work. Like, I can't, like, I just moved here, like, 3 months ago. I need to, like, make sure, like, I'm good here. I'm not going to go back to Phoenix. I will not let it, happen. And I was like, would you book me? And he goes, I'll tell you what. He goes, I can bring you back. He goes, but I can't pay you what I was paying you. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, but how does this number sound? And I mean, it dropped like almost $1,000. And I was like, I mean, do I say no and be like, nah, I'm good, and worry about like how the fuck am I going to pay my rent now? Or do I just do it and then just keep it moving? And I did. I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I remember going out, doing the gig, and then literally, like, it was a Saturday night, come home Sunday, everything good. Come Monday morning, my phone rings, and it was, Dexter, where's our cut?
Wow.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, okay. I was like, first off, I was like, you guys haven't answered any of my calls in...
Like 3 months now.
In weeks. Well, no, at the time, this was like, there was one guy I was dealing with. He would hit me back every now and then, but, like, some of the main guys, like, they didn't want to have anything to do with some of the guys, including myself. And I was like, dude, but then you're going to hit me up and be like, yo, where's my cut on this gig that we didn't do anything for? And I did all the work. And it was just like, you know, I was like, I'm not going to do this. And so I left. And it was like literally just like.
So there was just
3 months
nobody.
after.
There was just nobody telling you what was going to happen.
No one really knew. Well, they were kind of trying to go this route where.
Well, I mean, my thing is this. It's like.
I was already kind of on the shit list with them.
Why?
Because what they wanted to do at the time, like when I first got here, and AM was still alive at the time, when I first got there, the first week I was in LA, I took a meeting with like the main guy, and he's like, so here's going to be from here on out. I was already on a 2.5-year contract with AM. My contract had just expired, literally, like a month before. And he's like, from here on out, we're going to be a retainer company. And I was like, okay. I was like, I don't know what that is. Like, this is new to me. And he's like, basically, you're going to pay us $5,000 a month no matter what. And I'm like, no matter what, meaning like if you don't book me a single gig, I still owe you $5,000. And he's like, precisely. And I'm like, nah. I was like, I'm not doing that. I was like, I'm not doing that. No way.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to do that. And he's like, well, we got guys that are getting ready to come on board, and they're ready to pay that fee. And these were like trust fund kids and stuff. Like some of these kids, I heard their names then, and I never heard of them after. And
I mean, it's basically almost like a PR expense.
Yeah, it was like these are kids that want to DJ and they want to be part of this company because of who we have, and they're willing to pay this money, or their parents were willing to pay the money.
So on top of the commission, you would have to pay the retainer?
No. There was no longer a commission.
Oh, you
it was
just had
the
to pay the retainer.
But in order for me to pay a $5,000 retainer, prior to that, I was paying a percentage.
Yeah.
Well, to me, I had to make what $5,000 equaled.
Which is $25,000 to $30,000.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way I'm going to give you any more than that. There's no way.
Right.
I was like, I'm not going to do that. And so right then they were like, well, fuck this guy. And I was like, all right. And so I was already like, yo, we're not dealing with this shit. And then so once AM passed, like literally weeks later, they were like, all right, that dude's done. We're done fucking with that guy. But then as soon as I started to get a couple things, they were like, yo, where's our cut?
Wow.
Yo, that's crazy.
And so,
Yeah.
and you know, there was affinity for a couple of years.
And
after that.
what kept you on there? Just AM saying like, no, just let him be?
No, well, technically, it was kind of a rap already, but like it was just a gray area. They were like, I think they still thought they were going to get that from me. But I knew that I wasn't going to do that. And I think AM didn't want to go that route either because AM had started that that whole company based on, yo, these are guys I respect. These are guys like I like. These are guys that
My
like I
homies.
know can do the job. And meanwhile, like these other people that are part of the company, they're just like, yo, fuck those guys. Like those guys aren't marketable. They're just like whatever. I mean, like half of us look like slobs. Like, but we were good DJs. Like, so it was whatever. You know, they're like, well, none of these guys are going to be AM. But like, if we can at least get these other guys to like, you know, some of these kids are tied. Like, you know, they have socialite parents or this or that. It's like we can tie these kids in and get more money and whatever. So they looked at it like that. I feel like they wanted to take the business in a direction that he didn't want it to go in, and I can't confirm or deny, but I've heard from people close to him after he passed away that he was looking for an exit strategy out of the company. And because it wasn't going in the direction he wanted it to go to. And so again, I guess we'll never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So when that happened, everything changed. You were on survival mode.
I was on survival mode for about
So then-
6 months.
And what were you doing 6 months? Cold calling clubs, being
Yep.
your own agent.
Zach and Mike Drummond, they were getting me some gigs in San
Okay.
Diego and some stuff like that. And then, but even then, you remember that was the exact same time that Zach had kind of like
He was over it.
he was out. Yeah. So it was just like okay.
I think that's when I left.
yeah.
I think I left, and then I joined Scam.
Yeah. And so that was the thing. So Suja had reached out to me and he said, look, he's like, I'm not.
Well, we kept bugging him about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it was. I remember it was me and probably five and
Yeah.
a couple like, yo, why aren't you hitting up Fashen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he thank you, by the way, if I've never thanked you before. For
No,
that.
you don't have to thank me.
But still, like it's
You can blow me later. You know what I mean?
yeah, with Sean Perry's mouth.
Do that shit. They
Shout out to Sean Perry.
do
I
that
love you,
sh-
Sean.
Do that shit you used to do to Z Trip. You know, back in the day. You know, when he was teaching you that.
What,
good
carry his crates? You want me to carry your crates later?
stuff. No, do that shit where you would poke your head in. And then
Poke it out.
He's such a clown. No, but
work the mic a little, like
but
you said.
for real though, I knew Sujit. I knew Sujit. I have pictures with Sujit. Pause. From back when I did radio, and he would show up in Phoenix with like a T-shirt down to his ankles and promote Shade Shice records and some of the other records on his label.
Right.
And then, so I knew him from then. And there was a time actually when I had asked Sujit to be part of Scam Artists, and he basically gave me the "Ayo, fall back, son" vibe, and I was like, all right. So we kind of had a falling out for a while, and then we squashed that later on at Obi-Wan's birthday party when he was at the Playboy Club years later. I was already doing my thing with AM. He's like, I see you doing your thing. He's like, I got respect. Everything was good. And so when all that kind of fell apart, Sujit hit me and he's like, look, he goes, the guys have been coming at me and they're saying, that you should come on board with Scam. He's like, we've known each other for years. And he's like, if you want to come over here, he's like, there's a place for you here. And I was like, all right, cool. And like literally from that moment, I mean, I literally had the hugest weight off my shoulders.
Right.
I literally like sat down and was like, wow, like I'm going to be okay. Like I'm going to be okay. And I was with Sujit for, gosh, 7-8 years? So, yeah.
Damn. I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah, something like that. Well, wait, no. Yeah. Yeah, because I got there in 2009, and then literally 6 months later, 6 months after AM died, is when I got on Scam. And then I got off of Scam on, actually it was November of 2016. So what is that, 8 years?
Yeah.
About 8 years.
Wow.
So
About 6.
Why'd you leave Scam?
6. It was time to move on. I mean, it was just time to move on. Suja is taking his company in a direction that I felt didn't really include me.
Yeah.
And, and that's fine. Like, at the end of the day, you got to look out for your business. You got to look out for your brand. And that goes for me, too. I had to look out for my brand. And I was no longer a priority. And he knew it, and I know it, and everyone else knew it. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm my own priority, so I'm going to do what I have to do to make sure that I'm the priority.
Right.
And that was it. And I was like, I'm going. And, he was like, I didn't even see this coming. And I'm like, well, here it is. So... And we're still cool. And in fact, I feel like I have a better relationship with Sujit now than I did when I was with Scam Artists.
That's good.
So it's good. At the end of the day,
I mean, he talks shit about you all the time.
that's all right. I talk shit about him even twice as much. Yeah, no, but I got love for Sujit.
So in the 8 years that you were with Scam, music changed a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot of EDM, right?
It started out a lot of EDM. When I first got in, it was still a lot of the mashups and stuff like that, and then it went really heavy EDM, and then the last couple of years it just flipped to all hip hop.
Yeah. So like now, what do you enjoy more? Do you enjoy the stage it is in right now, or during the EDM stages, or is it all the same to you?
2007 to 2009 was the best years. Period. Like I wish that comes back. That was so great. And I kind of feel like in certain spots that I play, it kind of is that. Maybe not the same exact music, but like more spots that were like, yo, you only play EDM tonight. And I was like, all right, cool. And then you go back at spot a year later and like, all right, now it's only all hip hop. And you're like, all right, cool. And then you go back like whatever. And then like, all right, now we want everything. Like, don't be afraid to just throw some random ass shit in there. And you're like, all right, cool. And then you do it and they're like, man, that was so refreshing. It's like, yeah. Like, a hit is a hit is a hit.
It's kind of in that area right now.
A hit is a hit. Like you can, good music is good music. Like no matter when you play it, like if people know it and they like it, it's like, have you ever listened to a song and you were like, God, I fucking love that song. And then you heard it again 3 years later and it's like, fuck that song. Like, I don't like that song. Like, no, you're just like, oh shit, I haven't heard that song in like 3 years and I still like this song.
Yeah.
And so when you do that, it's just like, whoa, okay. And then at the end of this, even more recently, like, speaking for myself, like I've been getting a lot of people come up. They're like, "Yo, like I like that you played that one thing," or like I like that you flipped this or you did this. And I was like, "Oh, cool." And just like, yeah, man, you can still kind of take risks with records that like once were hot.
Yeah, you were known for that though. You liked playing a couple records that would just be like, "What are they gonna do?"
Yeah,
and you would take that chance and maybe it could possibly fuck up the dance floor.
Yeah.
And you would.
Well, you just have to be ready to like save it at the same time. Like have a beer bottle ready to throw at the guy ready to walk off the floor.
What? Jesus Christ!
Liability.
I'm joking.
Fashion.
I mean, has there ever been a time where it just didn't work and it was like really
all the time, something doesn't work. I'll give you an example. I played in San Francisco this past Friday.
Yeah.
Golden State had just won the championship. The room was like lit. I'm like, where are my Warriors fans at? People were going like, yeah. Put on Queen, We Are the Champions. Everyone was like, the fuck is this shit?
Put the fucking Mac Dre on.
And I'm like, yo, like, how do you not know this? But I was like, all right. So I let it run like a half a verse, and then I went into, I forget what I dropped. I think I dropped, Lil Dicky, Freaky Friday. And everyone was like, oh my God, that's my shit. And I'm like, all right. So it was like, I had the save ready. Like, I knew, like, okay, if this doesn't work, you have to have a record that I know that everyone's going to fucking like.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I'm not a fan of the record. I mean, I get it, but I'm just like, whatever. It's just one of those records where I'm just like, I hate playing this record, but I do it because it's part of the job. But you did. I was like, all right, let's savor the moment. You guys just won the fucking championship.
I'm shocked that Little Dicky saved the moment.
All right.
That was your saving moment.
Well, no, because I hadn't played it, but I know. But dude, there are
kids
records.
love it.
There are some markets where that record is a big record,
Golden
and that market
State,
that's a big
Golden
record.
State, make some fucking noise. Y'all the winners.
Dun,
I
dun,
woke up
dun,
Chris
dun.
Beasley. Oh my
But-
God, I'm the man.
But you know what's crazy though? A lot of the San Francisco clubs, they frown on like the whole hyphy songs and stuff. They're like, yo,
Still?
don't play that.
Really?
Some of them, yeah. Some
They
of 'em.
embrace that shit now.
Some of them.
Dude, that's like
Really?
I mean, not this club. I still played some of that stuff, but
yeah.
yeah. But no, it was just really weird. It was just awkward. It was an awkward night, and I was like, man, like, just won the championship. Like, fucking loosen up.
Jesus, Fashion.
But it was still cool. It was still a fun night. But yeah, like I'm just kind of like,
Fashion.
yo, you're the champions. Fucking sing that shit.
Well, I mean,
But did you expect to play the whole song or just?
No.
that
I
part?
just play, like, and I didn't even start it from like, the very very beginning.
Oh
where it's
man,
like,
nah, they would have been
yeah,
left.
no. I right as the build up, right like 2 seconds. It's like, we are the champions, and I'm like, okay, and then. I literally let it go like a half hour. I went to it was like of the world, and then I like echoed out of it, and then like boom, yeah. I woke up Chris Breezy.
Oh my God, I'm the man.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, I'm playing this song. But yeah, but everything was fine. Everything was chill. It was a good night.
So, how many years have you been DJing now?
28 years.
28.
28.
Here's a fucked up thing. That's my age.
1990. I started in 1990.
I'm
It's
89.
2018. I started in February, so February of 2019 will be 29 years.
How do you feel about the music coming out nowadays?
Some of it I like, and some of it I don't like.
Same as any other year? Same
Any
as
other year. That just-
Same thing.
Yeah. Music is more disposable now, though.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm a huge Kanye fan. This album was just kind of whatever for me. Yeah.
What about Pusha?
The Push album is hot.
What's your favorite shit to play right now? I'm
Mm.
just curious. All of these years, 28 years, you was a heavy hitter. You was on Dexstar. You was on Scam. Now you're on
The
Rich Group.
hmm
You're like a little whore.
Thanks.
Hop
Out
around.
here,
Thanks.
Fuck,
he just
man.
pokes
like LeBron, man.
Yeah,
he just pokes his head in wherever it comes in.
Hey,
Spreading
poking your
it.
head.
Spread
Hey,
it.
what's up? Y'all want some fashion?
Spreading it.
Here comes Fashen.
Anyway.
I just want to get on the mic for a little bit.
No, I don't know. I don't know what I like playing. I mean,
Like, what do you
I like
enjoy?
playing the hip hop records. You know what I really
I
like?
haven't heard you spin in a long time, so I'm curious.
Yeah.
Because I remember,
Yeah,
when
last time for
we
me was-
initially met, it was a lot of be more. It was a
Yeah.
lot of taking risks.
I don't play.
Obviously
Low
now,
Light,
yeah.
yeah.
And then I don't know. I heard you a couple times.
But I still play some random shit.
It was great. You're so good at hip hop.
Thank you.
I think
Well, that's where I started. That was like my whole. I was a hip hop DJ until about like
You know what I've always wanted.
2004.
What I've always wanted was to just hear a hip hop set from you.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
And because what I mostly hear is an eclectic set, and you'll mix it up. You'll do like a trap remix, or
Yeah.
you'll do a lot of these remixes.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to go back to that heavy hitter.
Well,
I would love to hear
when
a
I kind of
hip-hop
get to
set.
do that stuff is like every summer I get to play the do-over.
Yeah.
And so like when I play the do-over, I usually try to go a little bit more like that. Like last year, Prodigy had just passed like a couple weeks before I played.
Yeah.
And so I ran like a 30-minute Mobb Deep set. I just ran all like
Sounds
my
amazing.
my favorite Mobb Deep records, and just back to back to back. I was like, yeah. But I like and I was like, again, like there were some of the records I didn't have, or like some of the album cuts that I didn't have. So I made sure I put that all together, and like I set cue points to like certain parts of the songs that were my favorite parts. I was just like, yo, this is gonna be like my thing. So I think that's actually online. I think you can hear
I'm about
it.
to say that. Is it on SoundCloud?
I think it is. It's not on my SoundCloud. If anything, it might be on the Do-Over SoundCloud. I can find out.
Yeah,
Send you
give
guys
us
a link.
give us the date.
Yeah. I gotta look it up. It
Yeah,
was
well, look it up, motherfucker.
it was like July or August of last year, but I haven't done it yet this season. But
Yeah.
I think the last time I heard Fashion was like 2012 at Playhouse or some shit like that. It's a long time ago.
yikes,
Nah, the thing is, I love.
What's wrong with Playhouse?
nothing's wrong. With
Well,
I
I
like
like-
yikes.
I don't
It was a
know.
long time ago, whatever. No, I like Chris Scam had a Thursday there, so I would see like all the cool motherfuckers every Thursday.
But then Fashion
Yo, I met
was there.
Spike Lee on that night.
Oh, really?
I took a picture with Spike Lee at Playhouse one night.
Wow.
Yeah, he was probably like, "Who the fuck is this kid?" I was like, "Yo, man, you're my favorite. Fight the power." Love Spike Lee.
How did Rich Group happen?
So when I left Scam at the end of 2016,
Fucking whore.
Just on the mic.
Just
breakup.
hopping around. Throwing that fashion pussy everywhere.
breakups happen, bro.
All right.
But
you,
no, it
so
just-
you bent over and
No,
and then Rich
no.
Group-
With all due respect to Sujit, just the last year that I was there, like I felt like I was just doing a lot of the work myself, and it was just like, again, I like I said before, I wasn't his priority, and I understood that, and that's why I'm just like, I get it. I get that I'm not your priority. I've been on for a while. I'm one of the older DJs.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. But at the same time, like, I'm a consistent DJ. Period. And anyone who wants to try me on that, bring it. I show up. I do the job. I give 200% at every gig. I enjoy being everywhere that I'm at. And it's rare, if at all, where someone calls and is like, yo, that dude sucked. He was a dick. He showed up late. He fucking got too drunk and couldn't play. He just totally didn't want to be there. Like, that's never going to happen with me. And it was just like, like, I made sure, even though I wasn't like one of his main guys, I played consistently, like, over the years. And I brought in a steady check to him.
Mm-hmm.
And it just... But that last year, I felt like I did all the work. And it was just like, why am I paying out this check when I'm doing all the work?
Mm-hmm.
And granted, it wasn't all the work, but it damn sure was the majority of it that last year. And I told him that. I'm like, look, I just can't do it anymore. And so I said, okay, there's only a handful of like open format agencies or that would even be willing to fuck with this guy. And I was like, some of them I already knew wasn't going to happen. I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to go to any agency, I would want to be involved with, I think, the Rich Group. And I was like, and if they're not interested, then I'll pretty much just represent myself and do exactly what I did this whole last year and just do all my own shit. And then so Lewis at the Rich Group took a meeting with me. Graham and Joe Maz had set it up. And he's like, yeah, he goes, I didn't know who Lewis was at all. And then he's like, yeah, I've known of you because he actually started out, he was an employee at Dexstar years ago, like right after I left. And so, and then he eventually left there and started his own thing. But he's like, I know of you, I know of your background and everything. He goes, if you want to be part of this, he's like, you're welcome to be part of this. And he tells me, he's like, look, he's like, I get like 30 to 50 requests from DJs a month that want to be part of Rich Group. And he hasn't signed anyone in like a year and a half. The last 2 main people he signed was me and Jessica Who. And then
Jessica Who, great DJ.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I got on literally like 2 weeks before she did. And then the only person that's come on board since then is this artist Morton, who is also he's signed with Dimmock for music. He's a EDM producer and DJ from we'll just say Europe. It's either Sweden or Denmark or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly where, but he's a real good guy. And but yeah, so that's like the only guy that he has kind of like on that side. But yeah, so that's it. I was like, all right, cool, and I've been happy over there. He's a hustler.
For now, until you whore it out.
Believe me.
4 years later.
Believe me.
It's time to move on.
Believe me. When I need to say what I have to say, the dude takes my call and listens. So, and it's not always nice.
That's dope.
So, but
What you have to say or what he has to say.
what I have to say or what he has to say. You know what though? He actually is like I give it to Lewis. He's like, yo, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, do this, send me this. And like he'll call me like, who else can we do? What else can we do? How can we do this? And I like that. And like he pushed me to do a lot of stuff. And like I was kind of mentioning you guys earlier, he's always like, yo, you need to make some new music. You need to make some new music.
Right,
so
right.
blah, blah, blah. Just so. But again, at the time, right now, I'm just less about making my own original shit and just, because again, the music is so disposable. Do I really want to sit in studio for 2 weeks, a month, whatever, try to make something that may or may not crack, and then you're just like, okay, you just wasted all this time when you could be playing stuff that, or make like cool edits of records that already pop.
Yeah.
Well, here's a counter to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Music is disposable right now,
Yeah.
but it's also it's easier for good music to stand out.
I agree with that. Well,
Right.
but the stuff that the EP, I came out with a disco house EP, like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was fun, and I loved it, and I loved every track that was
dope.
on it.
And you did a great marketing thing. I remember you were like editing videos, like old school.
Yeah.
Was it Soul Train videos?
Soul Train.
Yeah.
I would take like Soul Train dances and edit them to the songs.
Yeah.
But again, it's a niche
It was a
market.
little ahead of its time.
Yeah, but again, it's a niche market, and that kind of style kind of dipped. It wasn't as popular now as it was.
Well, maybe just do 3 songs
yeah.
a year or like 1 a season. You know what I mean?
I got
winter,
some ideas
one fall,
about some stuff. Like I made some other records, but like I tried to make like some EDM records and like some big like.
But don't do that. I mean, if
But
you don't,
that's what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
Is as that started to phase out, I was like, okay, how can I try to like?
do you.
Yeah, but that's just it. I tried to do those, and I was like, fuck, these are lame. Like I don't want to do these. These suck.
Focus on 95 BPM to 100, bro.
There you go,
Do that.
dude. Why'd you wink at me when you said that?
Anything else we want to talk about?
His art, bro. You
Oh
spit
yeah,
that shit
Yeah,
out.
man.
We didn't touch on your art, Paul.
I respect. I saw the Renaissance video and
Yeah.
the Supreme decks.
Yeah, and all the stuff that's in that video, I no longer have any of it.
Why?
None of it.
How much you sell the decks for? The polka
Oh,
dot ones.
The Hearst decks, I think I sold at the time for like 6,000.
Yeah, they
That's
go
about
for
what
that much.
they're about valued at right now.
You paid $33 for each, or 44.
It was a little more. I think it was like 75 actually.
$75 a deck, and then he flipped it
Yeah.
for 6 G's.
A few years later.
Wow.
A few years later.
That shit is
Like
nuts.
I've slowed down. I've definitely slowed down a lot. Well, over the years too. Like we'll put you like this too. Like you've noticed this over the years too. Like the DJ fees, went from being like really like holy shit
Yeah.
to like
To holy shit.
okay like it's still good money, but you're just like all right like you're just not spending it the same way you were years ago. So
Yeah.
I've definitely slowed down a few things, and like I've been a little more wise. Before I was trying to get like anything I could, and then now I'm really just like,
Did you say your cost from like 99?
all my cost figures went probably like 6 years ago, And then like I had a 4-footer. I had a Black Cause 4-footer. I got it for like $3,500, like right out the store. And then I
Like
sold it for
50.
$7,000. Now that shit's worth like
50 G's.
40, 50 G's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
man.
4-foot. That's just so
Yeah.
hard to get. Which one, did you have the gray one,
I had the all black,
the all black one?
which were even more rare because
Yeah.
the all black, I want to say it was either 10 or 12 of them that I remember. No, it was a lower number than, maybe it was, no, I think it was 100 of each. But that one was a little more rare because before they had made all of them, the mold had broke. So all the others were like in a series of 100, and that one was like a series of like 88 or 90 or some shit. So
It wasn't the
made it a little
dissector
bit
one,
more.
right?
No, it was just a regular one.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah, I love Cos. He's still one of my favorite artists. But his actual artwork is out of my price range. So I enjoy watching his Instagram and seeing it in museums and whatever. But I won't own any Cos anytime soon.
I remember you like actually befriending a lot of artists too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then,
I mean, I
like,
try to like if I'm interested in somebody's work, it's like
Yeah.
I want to like learn more about them, their practice. I try to do studio visits, like when I go to New York or certain cities, like if they have a studio.
yeah,
in the
like
city.
because like Sean, sometimes you would stay at Sean Perry's crib,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And then you would like drag him to.
I
don't
didn't
know,
shower
like,
there either.
Probably not. So, but you would like drag him to like I don't know, upstate New York.
Yeah, we
or,
went
like,
to Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Connecticut.
And
It's a
then-
place called the Brandt Foundation to
And
see
you'd
a
want to
show.
like I don't know if you'd meet the artist there or like you know what I mean.
Well,
Or-
he had like the artist is this artist Nate Lohman, and he had a big show at the Brandt Foundation, and it was getting ready to be the end of the show, and I wanted to see it before, and I took some airline miles, and I was like, Sean, I'm gonna fly out on this day, I'm gonna spend the night, and then we're gonna drive to Connecticut the next day, and then I'm gonna fly out the next morning. He was like, all right, let's do it, and so the artist wasn't actually there, but it was the place, it's by appointment only, and all the other people had canceled their appointment, so me and Sean were the only people there. So there's this girl, she was cute too. So we're walking around and she's trying to like tell me about the art, and meanwhile Sean's like, so you got a boyfriend? Sean was like totally trying to like hit the whole time. I'm like, man, like tell me about this shit. Like I flew all across the country to about this, and he's over here like, yo, so where you live, where you stay, you got a loft, what are you doing? She's like, yeah, and so this guy, and he's like, who's this artist? I'm like, yeah. Sean didn't care, but it was good. We had fun. We rented a car and got on the wrong freeway.
You're on the wrong side sometimes.
Yeah.
Huh?
How much? What's the most you've ever spent?
Give us a range. Don't say a specific number if you don't like.
The most, and it's been a while since I did, but the most I ever spent on a single piece is $16K.
$16K.
Yeah.
I thought it was crazy.
And then
man.
what-
No. But see, I tried. I tried to get. That's even high for me. That's way high for me.
That's yeah.
But that's like I try to stay like less than 5, and then let it appreciate
And go up.
and go up. And I try to get, and that's why I try to do a lot of research. I try to learn more about artists when they're young and like not blown up, and so I can get them at prices that are like more in my range. Now, I have invested in a couple works with co-investors, and we've spent as high as almost $30,000. Yeah.
You investing in what's that kid's name? Well, he's not a kid, but Alec Monopoly.
No,
He
that
blew
dude
up.
is trash.
Yep.
Oh shit! Damn. Okay.
He's
Sorry, I mean
It's kind of like all hype, right?
Yeah.
in the street world, he has no credibility.
It's kind of a sample.
Yeah, I'm good on Alex Monopoly. It's whatever. He don't know me. No, I really don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's a lot of guys like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just,
But you mess with like Mr. Brainwash?
nope.
No, you don't.
No, I mean, some of his stuff's cool, but like again, that's more the street art side, and it just
You're more the.
I've
But at a
phased out of
certain
that.
point, it became like
Yeah, no,
it
I was
became
really
like
into
a
it.
pimping game. No,
Yeah.
I mean like it was getting pimped out. It was
Yeah.
like everyone was just taking advantage. Like, yo, all of these rich people are just buying this shit, so I'm just gonna start
but I mean,
making this shit.
like with the Alex Monopoly thing. I mean, you can find it all online, but like there was a guy that was actually making like a lot of his work, and then he would just sign his name to it, and then finally the dude was like, "Yo, I'm tired of this shit." Like it was like a deal with Forever 21 or something. They want to come out with like a T-shirt design or something, and Alec Monopoly was like, "Yo, let's do it." And he basically went and did the thing, and the guy who was making the work was like, "Yo, yeah, I'm not trying to fuck with that. I'm not trying to have my shit on like 10-year-old girl
also,
shirts."
like this ghost painter.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so it was like a big deal. And then finally the guy came out and was like, yo, I'm not cool with this. And I'm coming out and saying, like, I'm the guy that does this shit. And it's whatever. And so I'm not saying that Alec Monopoly can't paint. I'm just saying that to me, he's just not a legitimate artist. So it is what it is. But just even the style, like I'm past the whole, paintings of like dollar signs and Louis Vuitton symbols, and that's just not my thing. I mean, it's decorative.
Do you like Daniel Arsham and all that?
Some of Arsham stuff is okay. Like I've been like, I tried to go to museums and see a lot of the old stuff, like Jasper Johns and Cy Twombly and like the OGs from like the 50s and stuff like that. And it's work that I'll never be able to afford. I mean, these are like millions and millions of dollars, but it's like amazing work. And it just, when you see those things and you go back and these are dudes that like made this shit so long ago, and you're just like, and then now people today like copy these styles, and you're just like, so to see like something original like that, it just, I don't know, it just means more to me. But yeah.
What was your biggest flip?
Well, I'll tell you my biggest non-flip. I had a work that I bought for $9K, and at the time I could have turned it for almost $200K.
Fuck.
And I slept on it.
Why? Because you thought it was going to go up more.
That, not necessarily that it would go up more. I thought it would be stable and kind of maintain. But I also had a friendly relationship with the artist. Like I didn't want to like just shoot this dude's work. You know what I mean? Like it's like an unwritten rule. And like he was in so high demand at the time. Like I felt lucky that I was even able to get a work from him. And
so
they artists, like they know who has their work.
Right.
And so if he would have saw that shit go up at auction, it would have been like, yo, fuck you, man. Like whatever. So anyway, I slept on it. I sat on it. I sat on it, and I sat on it, and then his market just tanked. Like there was a whole big thing like a couple years ago, and like the emerging art market like tanked, and he was one of the main artists that tanked. And that work that I bought for $9 that went up to almost $2, I did end up selling it for $8,500. I lost money.
Damn.
He lost 200K and then 500.
Do you regret it?
Fuck yeah.
You know what? No. Well, here's the thing. In certain ways, I do, but at the same time, I don't, because when there's also it's a reputation thing, and sellers who
like Fashion's that dude that befriends you and is cool with you, and then once he has your work, he tries to flip it.
Pretty much, sort of like that. Not even the friend part, but just there are people in the world that are known as.
He's not in it for the art.
Yeah, and they're in it for the money. And
Culture vulture.
And it's just like I respect those guys and what they do, and I respect the galleries that have worked with me and stuff in the past. And the last thing I want, my reputation with them was more important than the money. And so like, and that's another thing. If I would have sold that work, I could have been blacklisted from like every gallery in the country.
Really?
Like no one would sell me anything ever again, because they know, they're like, oh, don't sell to him because he's gonna sell it. He's gonna put it at auction. So yeah, I didn't. So looking back, yeah, it hurt knowing that I could have had that money. But at the same time, just like everybody, just like everybody, I have.
It's
debts.
not life changing though.
I have debts that I still have. I have debts to pay, and it would have been nice to have those monkeys off my back. But it is what it is. I at the same time, I don't regret it. So
cool.
Yeah, I guess I have a, what is it? Not a heart, but like
conscience.
There you go. I have a conscience to go with my good hygiene.
Fuck.
You're a good man, Fashion. You're a good man.
Irish Spring.
Good
so
man.
the real question is, are you guys coming out tonight or what? What's going on?
I'm staying in.
I'll be out. I'll be out.
What's wrong with you guys? I'm older than all you guys by like several fucking decades.
You'll see
last
me.
night.
All right, I'll see Maz.
Jamie, you gonna poke your head out?
I worked last night. And then last night and in the daytime, I'm still.
I might poke my head out.
Never
Yeah?
need some rest.
There he is.
Got you, bro. You going?
Jewel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last time you want to say the story about a guy damn nearly showered fucking talking about showering. He almost showered Fashen with a full bottle of Maker's Mark.
He did. Not even almost. He did. Like I was soaking wet. Like the whole backside of my body was covered in Maker's Mark.
Yeah, it was
What
crazy.
happened? He sprayed it on you?
No, he like slipped and or no, the bottle. He set the bottle down on like the edge of the seat.
And he was sitting down.
And it. Yeah, I was sitting down like in front of him.
Yeah.
And the bottle like fell, and it literally like as soon as it hit the cushion, it just like all over in my pants, all over
shoes.
my back, my shoes. I mean, it was everywhere. I was just like, what the fuck? And then I was like, who knows this guy? And no one knew. And I was like, yo, get the fuck out of here.
He was just trying to be in the DJ booth cool.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Him and his 3 friends.
Didn't
Now
even
see,
belong.
had a girl drop that, I would have been like, it's okay, boo, it'll dry.
No, and then some girls walked over and they wanted to take a shot with Fashen. Like a group of girls wanted to just take a shot with Fashen. I have video
Nah,
of
you
that.
know, but it wasn't. They didn't want it. It wasn't. So Scratchy's coming out tonight. You know Scratchy, right?
I vaguely remember.
So Scratchy was like, when we go, I'm like, yo, we're drinking tonight, right? He's like, yeah, I got it. I was like, 1 for 1. Let's go. 1 for 1. He's like, all right, done. So the girls were walking by. I remember the girls were walking by, and he was like,
It was
yo.
like 7 girls.
He's like, yo, he wants to take a shot with you guys. And I'm like, nah, I don't though, because like one, we were almost out of alcohol. I was like, why are you gonna give these 7 strangers?
Yeah.
And these girls were like 6s, and I'm not like trying to judge, but they were 6s. It's like, yo, man, when the bottle gets low, you have to like watch who you give the shots to.
Yeah.
And so we ended up pouring all the bottle. We basically finished off the bottle in like by like 1, and I'm like, and these guys just went on it like 12:50.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, so I was just like, So, and then meanwhile, Scratchy didn't even take the shot, so just like, whatever. Anyway,
funny.
and then I just remember we ended up like, what, like 8 dudes.
Sounds like a horrible dude.
Yeah.
I hope I never meet him.
Scratchy?
Scratchy or
Scratchy's my guy.
Scratchy. Yeah, I've heard about him. We'll see what's up.
This guy.
the other Asian dude on Scam. You know?
There's so many
the
Asian
browner
guys on
shade.
Scam. Fashion, I think we're done with you.
Man, I really appreciate you having me here.
Yo,
Anything else you want to ask? Anything random?
I think
No.
we covered. Yeah,
I think we touched on everything, Paul.
Are you spending that in Vegas anytime soon?
Oh, yeah. I'm playing at Apex next Saturday, the 23rd.
Oh shit!
Have you guys been yet? One of you guys did it, yeah.
I did it last night.
Yeah, is it good? Fun?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good
it's
in
cool.
there.
Yeah, so I'm excited. And the cool thing about like so the New Palms, I was reading. I can't remember the guys' names, but the guys that own that and did the
Oh,
remodel,
shit.
they're big. They're big art collectors.
The
they do,
whole
yeah.
shit is around the
Yeah,
palms.
and so like some of like a lot of the work that I'm really into and focused on now, that they're in that category. So there's works
Andy
by like
Warhol and shit like that.
Richard Prince and a lot of the guys.
I don't know
So
what who did the shark.
that's Damien Hirst.
That shit is crazy.
So yeah, so
There's
I'm
a
excited
weird
to see
thing
this
about
stuff.
that shark right now.
Huh?
There's a little controversy about that shark at the Palms.
Because
I heard from the grapevine that Chinese, like gamblers, like a shark is bad luck
oh wow,
for gambling.
But a chopped up shark.
And then when the shark is kind of it's like
Chopped up in 3 pieces.
segmented.
Yeah.
So it's like it's chopped up shark, and I heard that's even worse luck.
really?
So a lot of Chinese gamblers don't want to like
Oh, and they
gamble
got-
there.
That's crazy.
They got that huge
I've
ass
never heard
cause
that.
too.
I heard
Yeah, that's
that.
good.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they have a huge ass cause.
Yeah, cause that's just how.
That's
So
just dope.
Do they have a Jeff Koons in there or no?
no.
man,
There's a couple. I know there's one
I
to
don't
win.
know
I don't think so.
And
One
then
to win.
those body sculpture shits at Apex. I don't know who did those either.
Dustin Yellen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Just gonna go explore the
Yeah, you're
casino.
gonna nerd out.
Kind of. Yeah. Sort of.
Shit. I mean, Fashion. It's been a long time. I love you, man. Thank you for coming through, bro.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me, man.
man.
Thank you,
Seriously.
man.
I got respect for all you guys. I love everybody in this room.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, man.
Thank you,
man. Much respect, man. Like honestly, 28 years in the game. Tip my hat off to you.
I appreciate it.
That's a long
And
time.
thanks for coming through.
Thank you. Come over
Thank
here and
you.
let me slap you with my sweaty dick. I love you, man. Thank
Pause.
you.
All right, bro.